Miles separating them collide for just the second time ever. It's the 2-1 Furman Paladins Charleston to face the 0-3 Charleston Southern Buccaneers. Want to welcome you into Buccaneer Field. My name is Killian McClatchy, my partner, the former Buccaneer Jack DeLongshaw. And Jack, these are two teams, they're going in opposite directions. Furman with a big win over ETSU last week. Charleston Southern, they're on a 3-game skid to open the year.
You talk about it. These are two programs maybe trending in opposite directions, right? Charleston Southern 0-3. You got Furman 2-1 with one loss to a really strong Clemson team, but they looked strong in that performance. But like Coach said, moving into next week today, it's all about dialing up and getting ready for conference play just next week.
Yeah, the final non-conference game here today before Charleston Southern gets into Big South, and then Furman, who's already 1-0 in the Southern Conference, gets underway. You see the teams are out there, and we'll give you the keys for today. We'll start off the Sunbelt Rentals keys to the game. What does Furman have to do, Jack?
You know, Coach Hendricks talked about it. They want to make CSU one-dimensional. CSU's been a little off balance on offense, so they look to continue to try to force them to throw the football all day. Also on the offensive side, they want to stay on schedule. They want to get away from the third and long downs. Also from a defensive standpoint, they got beat a couple times against Clemson, which happens when there are big-time weapons on the outside. They want to limit the big play.
Autry Denson and Charleston Southern 0-3 today. What are they going to have to do to try and come away with the first win?
You know, you don't want to beat a dead horse, Killian, but for the Bucks in the red zone, they've only got 5 red zone trips this season, 3 for 5. They need to find a way to control the football, find ways to get in the end zone, but really control the rock and find a way to get in the red zone. Defensively, 13-14. They're giving up 13 touchdowns every 14 trips. They've got to find a way to rely on a veteran unit on the defensive side of the ball. It really starts there for them today.
Coin toss is done. We'll introduce you to the third member of our team in just a moment. An absolutely beautiful day today here in Charleston for this football game. You really can't ask for much better than this. 76 degrees, barely a cloud in the sky. As Charleston Southern, we're going to see the offense and Ross Malmgren out to get the ball first.
You know, we talked about in the keys as well. For Ross, it's about creating a balanced offense today. You know, we mentioned it, what Furman's going to try to do, really control the rock today. But for Ross Malmgren, to really take the weight off his shoulders today, he's, been plagued with a little bit of a turnover bug in the last 2. If they can establish the run today, right, find a way to create some balance through the running game, I really think you'll see Ross really thrive.
So Ian Williams, the redshirt sophomore from Charlotte, puts his right foot through it. We are underway from Charleston, and it goes through the back of the end zone. And while we have the second, we're going to throw it down and introduce you to the third member of our team down in the sidelines, Justin Beagle.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Great to be here with you. Now, we know the Buccaneers are 0-3, but Autry Denson is not smashing that panic button right now. He would rather say his team is battle-tested. You look at who they played so far, a very formidable Western Carolina team, NC State ranked Power 5 program, and Eastern Kentucky, one of the better teams in FCS. Denton has never been afraid to challenge his team during the non-conference slate. This year is no different.
First play, little handoff in front of Malmgren to Vincent Davis as Davis gets tripped up, picks up a couple of yards. And mentioned the 0-3 start, and we even talked to Coach Clay Hendricks for Furman. He said, looking at that schedule, there's a lot of teams that would be 0-3 with the schedule that CSU's played.
And with this Big South Conference coming up, battle test is the perfect word.
Handoff up the middle as TJ Ruff gets upended. It was right there in the middle. Dan Scianna makes the tackle.
You know, it might seem trivial, right? But you're going to see these guards be put to work for the Bucks today. Lee Matthews, a redshirt sophomore, and Bailey Ottaway, a redshirt junior for the Bucks, playing left and right guard. I'd look to see them really try to create havoc through the middle of the field because Furman is big up front. But again, if they can establish the run early, it allows this offense to do a lot of different things.
Malmgren bringing TJ Ruff back next to him. The redshirt sophomore from Ackworth, Georgia. Threw for 200 yards, a touchdown, and a couple picks last week against Western Kentucky. And There's Caden Jordan with his first reception right at the sticks. It'll be a first down, and that's something that we're going to have to see a lot of today from CSU.
We talked about what we wanted the keys of the game to be quite often, Killian. But that's a guy. That's the Big South Player of the Year. That's their dude. You know, a lot of offenses, you know, thrive when you facilitate the rock. I mean, Charleston Southern's seen 11 receivers catch passes this year, but you're going to see it early. There's Caden Jordan again.
Right back to him. Second reception, and they're into Furman territory. Jordan, this is a guy, he led the team. He had 53 receptions a year ago in returners, only 1 touchdown, but this year he just had 7 coming into the day.
And it looks like they're going to target him early. There's 2 catches right here at the beginning of the game.
Malmgren going over the middle, and it's intercepted. Right into the hands of Micah Robinson, and now here comes the return. Across midfield, and he's tackled from behind, and now some pushing and shoving on that far sideline.
You know, we're going to see in this replay right here, it looked like he had Vincent Davis on the cross route and Micah Robinson just kind of right in the right spot. I just kind of airmails it. Looks like he wanted to sit it in the soft spot, but that's a throw that Malmgren wish he had back.
Well, these two teams, we mentioned they played once before. That was back in 2019. Furman dominated in that game 46-13. 369 yards on the ground. We're expecting to see a lot more of that today from this Furman offense. A reminder, this was the first game for Autry Denson in charge of Charleston Southern, is running on the first play and getting upended. It's the redshirt junior Dominic Roberto, and he's a kid we're going to talk a lot about today.
A 230-pound running back. It looks like a linebacker handling the rock today. He's big, he's strong, and he loves to run downhill.
Had 10 rushes for 80 yards and a touchdown a week ago against ETSU. One of those runs was a 46-yard touchdown. Now here's going to be a handoff, and he'll be tripped up. A couple guys were in there. Anton Williams. Looked like Jerome Rice the first 2. There's the starter, the transfer, Tyler Huff. Grad transfer from Presbyterian. He's having a very good season. 5 touchdowns to just 1 interception.
He's a guy, you know, we talked about Dominic Roberto. Who's the guy leading this Paladin in offense and rushing yards? That's right. It's the grad senior, Tyler Huff, who, by the way, is coming off a torn ACL. He's a dynamic athlete and has been a difference maker in this Paladin offense just from last year.
You know, right back to Roberto, and he is swallowed up immediately. Garrett Saig looked like he was the first one there, and it'll bring up a 4th down. We'll see what Clay Hendricks and his Furman offense wants to do.
You know, Killian, we talked about the first matchup with Western Carolina. Coach Denson said that he didn't want to rely on his defense too much. Feels like since his tenure in the last 5 years, that Buccaneer defense has been a staple. Garrett Saig, the middle of that staple. The senior middle linebacker with a huge hit there, leading the team in tackles. He's got to be the difference maker to change the tides for the Bucs. 4th
down, Huff slips, throwing deep, and what a catch! Tiptoeing the sideline and reeling that one in. Wayne Anderson Jr. and Furman moves the sticks.
And you know what? You're going to see in this replay, Aubrey Kennedy is actually in great coverage. It looks like he tries to jump the route and make a stellar play. Watch, you're going to see he just tries to jump it. But how about Wayne Anderson Jr., the redshirt junior? Coach Hendricks raved about Wave. Showed up as a Paladin, as a running back. They moved him into that slot spot, and he has thrived ever since.
13th reception on the year. He had a couple of touchdowns coming in. He caught 1 last week as Huff, the read option, decides to pitch it. And running, putting the shoulder down and fighting through a couple of tackles, Devin Abrams. First time we've seen, we're going to see both these running backs, and Roberto and Abrams, and they like to use them both, as well as getting Huff involved in that running game.
This Buccaneer defense is making pretty evident what they're going to try to do today. We had mentioned it in that first matchup with Western Carolina. Carlos Davis had all day to kind of pick apart that Buccaneer defense, but it looks like the Bucs are stacking the box and trying to bring a lot of pressure today.
Huff pulls it out. Lots of time, and he is tripped up, still on his feet, and finally brought down. Jerome Rice III got into the backfield, just the 2nd sack of the season for this CSU defense.
And we said on cue, right, they want to bring some pressure, create Tyler Huff to get maybe a little uncomfortable in that pocket, because when he's got all day, he's going to pick you apart. You might as well bring some pressure and sell out for a big play.
So it's going to bring up a 3rd and long. Mentioned the red zone woes for this defense, 13 of 14 allowing points as Huff the play action. Got a couple of blue jerseys in his face. Rolls out to his right, the ball comes out of his hands, it's on the turf, and Charleston Southern dives on top of it.
I believe it's going to be number 96, Shavon Fields. A little bit of a bench warmers accident. Here he goes to release the ball, and it just kind of pops out. But there it is, at Buccaneer pressure, force him to make a little bit of a not top 10 play. Huff's had such a great year, I don't want to rag on it, but that's going to be a play he will not want to add to his highlight.
Unsportsmanlike conduct. Defense, number 96. Half the distance to the goal. It's first down. This is number 96, first unsportsmanlike conduct of the game.
So Shavon Fields gets tagged with the unsportsmanlike. He spiked the ball after he dove on top of it. There'll be a conversation, I'm sure, to be had with Autry Denson, but turnovers on the first possession for each team to start the game.
You know, Coach Hendricks on the Furman sideline had mentioned that this one is important, but next week when it matters. You hope that Furman doesn't kind of fall into that, trap game mentality here on Saturday at Buccaneer Field.
Ruff sidesteps his way into the middle to pick up a couple of yards. The redshirt freshman from Shelby, North Carolina, he's really established himself as the lead back in this stable for Charleston Southern.
All 3 guys we're going to see today, TJ Ruff, JD Moore, and Roderick Hawkins, all bring such different things to the table for this Buccaneer run game. But as we mentioned, they look to get it going. You like to see each guy in a position of strength today.
They swing one out, and Ruff ends up coughing the ball up, and Furman dives on top of it. And it's going to be Furman football.
We just mentioned the importance of taking care of the football, but establishing this running game. A really nice play on the outside here. I believe it's going to be number 36, Jalen Miller. But that's got to be a play that Ruff, maybe trying to do a little bit too much, try to bounce it to the outside and cut back instead of just taking the 2-yard gain.
They're going to review that, it looks like. Actually, they decided they didn't need to. Pretty clear and cut. How about that? 3 possessions, 3 turnovers.
Well, we talked about really trying to get the ball moving, building some momentum going into conference play, and I'm pretty sure both coaches with 3 turnovers in about 5 minutes of play are not going to love the start to this game.
Huff breaks one tackle, stiff arms another, and picks up a couple of yards. And that's something the grad transfer from Orange Park, Florida, Tyler Huff, makes him so dangerous, the legs just as good as the arm.
The grad transfer from Presbyterian College, very familiar with this Charleston Southern team. PC, once a member of the Big South. Huff has had a lot of success against this defense, yet it's a very different defense since the last time he saw him in 2019. He looks to continue to build on that.
Huff drops back, Williams in his face, and that one deflected. Just looking over the middle for Joshua Harris, as we do have a flag down. Looks like it's on the Paladins.
We talked about the veteran leadership on that first drive on the Charleston Southern defensive front. How about a guy, number 1, Anton Williams, the senior? There's been some All-Americans up front, whether Chandre Mims transferring out. They look to have Anton Williams be the next guy to step up, fill those shoes, be a guy to really lead here. As he gets the quarterback pressure, you look to have this guy step up as you move into conference play the rest of the year.
Well, he's been relatively quiet to this point in the season. Just 7 tackles coming into the day. This guy that last season he had 5 sacks. As Huff drops back again and jumping the route, a lot of contact, but no flag. Nicely done over on that far side by Cameron Smith.
Well, we mentioned the keys for the game. Red zone inefficiency. There's 2 red zone opportunities for the Paladins, and the Buck defense bend don't break. That's a huge play, right? Confidence-wise for the offense to say, no, hey, this defense has got our back. That's a huge stop to hopefully hold for 3 or maybe even less here.
Here's the redshirt sophomore, Axel LaPro. As the lefty sets up for nothing more than a chip shot, he steps up and bangs it through. 4 for 4 now on the year, and Furman strikes first. It's been back and forth, 3 turnovers already in the first couple minutes. The Paladins with a 3-0 lead will be right back.
Power isn't born, it's built over time. For over 65 years, Hercules Tires has been providing the muscle to move more drivers, whatever the vehicle, whatever the terrain, and we back it with a powerful protection plan. So wherever the road or the trail takes you, we have the selection, value, and strength to get you there. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
Last year, I had more blood and platelet transfusions than I can count. During my treatment for acute T-cell lymphoblastic lymphoma, the chemotherapy took a toll over my body. And one of the main things that helped me survive was my routine blood transfusions. Blood donors keep cancer patients like me fighting every day. Sign up now at thebloodconnection.org/donate.
There's not a secret to what actually happens behind the scenes at a bank. Here at First Citizens, we're trying to educate the client in each step of what's actually going to happen and actually have them make the educated decision around what steps and what options they utilize. We want to become that trusted advisor that actually guides them down that road, helping you reach your goals. That's Forever First.
Well, folks, it's only 8 a.m. and it's going to be another hot one. Today's high is 85 degrees with lows ranging in the upper 50s. Tomorrow's more of the same, plus some light wind coming in from the northeast. Coming up at 8:30, Paul's got an exclusive
Babe, it's 8 a.m.
Fried chicken, better with Pepsi.
This Big South broadcast on ESPN Plus is brought to you in part by Hercules Tires, ride on our strength. Sunbelt Rentals, we have equipment for that. First Citizens Bank, Forever First, and Jersey Mike's, a sub above. Back into Charleston at Buccaneer Field, Killian McClatchy, Jack DeLongchamp, and Justin Beagle hanging out down in the sun on the sidelines. 3-0 for Furman as Charleston Southern going to get the ball for a third time now with just 8:10 left to go in the first. 2 turnovers and not the ideal start for Autry Denson.
Sloppy would be an understatement, but as we said, we're building towards conference play. We're going to keep mentioning it because that's what the coaches kept telling us all week. But this is a guy I'm really excited to see in the backfield for the Bucks, maybe to get a couple more snaps. It's going to be number 20, Roderick Hawkins. It's a big physical back.
Malmgren off target. He was looking for redshirt freshman Seth Anderson. He's been a real bright spot on this team, as there you see the numbers from Ross Malmgren coming into today. 6 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Does have 703 yards, but this is a CSU team. They've had to play from behind a lot of this season as Malmgren swings it out to Vincent Davis, who makes one man miss and falls forward. Gain of about 5, so it'll bring up 3rd and medium.
And if you remember correctly, Killian, 382 of those yards came in that week 1 matchup against Western Carolina. They look to see that, Ross. Get the ball out of the hand quick, allow them to feel really comfortable and confident early on.
Hawkins standing to the right of Malmgren. 58% completion percentage coming into the day. Does have an interception as Malmgren rolls out to his left over the middle for Jordan. That one's off the hands. Jordan had to dive for it but couldn't reel it in. So it'll bring up 4th down. Trying to get Caden and Jordan involved more. 3 targets here in the first quarter.
You talked about Seth Anderson's been such a bright spot in this offense, but you see in this replay, that's maybe not the best throw in the world, but because of the athleticism of Caden Jordan, he almost makes a play on it. You put the ball in your playmaker's hands, give you a good opportunity to win a ball game, as unfortunately they're going to go 3 and out.
So standing back and waiting to return this one, Callie Chiswick as David Gelb grad transfer from Maine. Standing at his own 15-yard line, and he puts the left foot through it. Chiswick will field at the 20, backpedaling. He stumbles a little bit, hustling up to make the tackle, Cameron Smith. And that is where Furman will start their next possession with a 3-0 lead. 7:18 to go in Charleston, the first quarter. We're right back on ESPN+.
The B1 Performance Patch elevates physical functions by transforming carbs into glucose used to fuel the body. Don't compete without it.
Welcome to Quick Trip.
Need some roller therapy?
Need a minute?
Need your wallet?
Need a push?
Happens all the time.
If you need it, we have it. QT, more than a gas station.
We made USAA Renters Insurance for the stuff you love. Because if it's worth lugging up 5 floors, it's worth protecting for as low as 33 cents a day. It's that simple. USAA, what you're made of, we're made for.
All right, girls, let's go, let's go. Come on, ladies.
Tallulah, come on, the bus is about to leave.
Come on, we gotta go.
So something really funny happened today upstairs with the sink.
Hey, y'all put this in a yacht room?
I listened to it on the app. No car required.
Hey, did y'all hear my interview on Y2 Country?
Okay.
I used a lot of big words.
Can we please not talk about SiriusXM for one meal? So, did everyone get my invite to game night?
Hey, do y'all ever listen to Yacht Rock?
We were just talking about that.
Atlantis, it's on an app. You ought to know.
That's really funny, 2 Chainz. Thank you.
The man in charge at Furman, this is a guy who has spent nearly half his life with the Furman football program. Currently with a record of 33-24. This is a Furman program that's been around for 117 seasons. A very decorated program and a good crowd here today as a lot of these Furman fans donning their purple made their way down to the Low Country.
You know, Killian, you mentioned he spent half his lifetime there as a player, as an assistant coach. He worked with the offensive lineman. He took a 10-year hiatus working for the Air Force Academy, coaching there as well. What happens after that, right? He comes back to Furman. He gets the head coaching job. I want to talk about building culture, having standards for your players, right? What that looks like. I mean, for your guys, it's this unbelievable precedent.
The receiving team fumbled the ball with a clear recovery by the kicking team. It will be 1st and 10 for Charleston Southern at the 24-yard line.
So how about that? Before we went to break, here's another look at it. Callie Chiswick. He fumbled the ball. We thought he was down. The official marked him down. They went back and reviewed it. They said he coughed it up. CSU jumped on it. So the Buccaneer offense back with the ball at the 24-yard line.
Sorry for the break in action, but we had mentioned sloppy. How about 4 turnovers in the first 5 minutes of this football game? Rough.
Malmgren looking around all sorts of times, sneaks his way out of a couple of tackles and slides down smartly. Picks up a couple yards. Here's one more look at it for you. Chiswick backpedals.
Sure enough, it was pretty bang-bang, but there was no indication on the field. Charleston Southern sideline didn't react at all. Neither do we up here.
They went and did the video review, and turns out CSU ball. Autry Denson certainly not going to complain. As Roderick Hawkins gets the ball for the first time today. The big fella running through some tackles, still on his feet and dives down to the 2.
We talked about him on the last possession. He's a smaller back, but boy, is he strong. Look, they're going to go up tempo here. They're looking for that first rushing touchdown of the season, and could it be Mr. Hawkins?
They give it right back to him, and he is met by a swarm of white jerseys. Furman, the defensive front, was ready for him that time.
I'm sure we'll get another look at that because that's an unbelievable run from Roderick Hawkins. He puts his foot in the ground and really cuts back up upfield, but it's the 7 yards after the initial contact that makes him such a dynamic runner.
Charleston Southern in the red zone. They're just 3 of 5 this year. They haven't led at all this season. Handoff to Hawkins, fighting his way and dives towards the end zone. And they're going to mark him down. It's going to be 3rd and goal from about the 1.
What's the verdict? This is a team that's only been to the red zone 5 times this season, Killian. I don't even know really if they've established what their blueprint is down here. But I tell you, with the way big number 20's running, I wouldn't mind seeing him get the rock for the 3rd carry in a row.
Malmgren going to hand off to him again. Waiting for the call. It looks like the far side officials marking him short. And it is going to bring up 4th down and maybe a hair from the goal line. And Jack, what do you do here?
I don't know. It looked like he had that gap wide open. He was going to shoot it. I got to tell you, you're 0-3. We haven't gotten to conference play yet. The idea is to get points, but I think you got to get 6 after the way this game has progressed so far.
They're going for it. Malmgren, handoff to Hawkins. And into the end zone. Roderick Hawkins lowers the shoulder, and Charleston Southern has the lead.
Well, if it don't broke, don't fix it. He gets 6 carries in a row, and big Roderick Hawkins gets the Charleston Southern's first rushing touchdown of the season. How about 2 turnovers for your Buccaneer offense already? And to find yourself up 7-3 with 5 to play in the first, boy, do they got to be feeling pretty good on that Buccaneer sideline.
Hawkins ran the ball 8 times last week for 33 yards. He's already close to that total here today. And he's got the first rushing touchdown of the season and the first lead of the season for Charleston Southern as they're up 7-3 on Furman. The Buccaneers trying to capitalize on this momentum.
Last year, I had more blood and platelet transfusions than I can count. During my treatment for acute
Guys, I got a game today. I need a ride.
But it's only Saturday.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. College kid.
Who took my helmet?
Ready.
Where are my socks?
I need more club.
Have you seen my pads?
Fashion.
I'm coming, Baker.
So where are we headed this week?
Texas.
Texas. Road trip.
Empieza la verdadera fiesta. Si hay una fiesta pa' allá voy. Si hay una rumba pa' allá voy. Que ya tú sabes cómo yo soy. Cuando me llamen pa' allá voy. Pa' allá voy, pa' allá voy. Come on, girl. Touchdown! Thank you for coming. Monday Night Football.
The man in charge at Charleston Southern coming in with a record of 12-17 in his 4th season. Mentioned his team reeling a little bit to start the season with this 0-3, but can't say you're too upset. You now have the lead 7-3. Granted, it hasn't been the prettiest first 10 minutes of football today, but can't complain.
When you're 0-3, I don't really think anybody cares how pretty it is anymore, as long as you find a W in the column. Whew.
Big time hit on the far side for Charleston Southern. Looked like Sherry Jefferson is the man who stepped up and made the tackle. So Tyler Huff coming back out for another time. This Furman offense, they've already turned the ball over twice. What do you want to see from Huff this possession?
I just think they need to reestablish who they are, right? Continue to run the football, lean on number 8, Dominic Roberto. That's a big back there. You just got to control the pace. You know, that time of possession is something that even against Clemson, they were only lost by about 4 minutes, and, you know, that's their game.
And we have right back to Roberto. The Fayetteville, North Carolina native, preseason All-Southern Conference selection. He led this team 709 yards and 6 touchdowns a year ago. And this is a guy, he's a chunk guy. He set the program record actually last season. He averaged 7.4 yards per carry. He's averaging about 5.5 this year as they go right back to him. And he gets run into Sherry Jefferson. He didn't even need to lay a hand on Roberto to make that tackle.
The Bucks are swarming to the football today. You don't think this defense is taking it personally, the beating they've taken the last 3 weeks? I mean, take this shot. He absolutely lays one on the backup tight end, Parks Gissinger, who almost gets an assisted tackle there, but his Buccaneer defense is taking it personal. It's a veteran group and looking to bounce back in a big way today, but how about this third down here? We've played about 8 minutes of this football game, and we haven't even mentioned the 2-time All-American Ryan Miller yet.
Huff drops back all sorts of time, has to step up. He's going to try and make one man miss, and Saig and Jefferson both there to bring down Huff, and it'll bring up 4th down and force a punt. So this Charleston Southern defensive unit, they're coming out and flying the football.
And watch it, Saig's just such a fundamental play. He stays home, he's your quarterback spy right there. Huff is a big runner. So Saig is gonna be the guy that just kind of remotes him all over the field today. It's a big time open field tackle to make sure they can get off the field on 3rd down.
Vincent Davis decides to let that one bounce around as Garrett Saig gives a little shove to the punter, Julian Ashby. He's actually the long snapper, as we do have a flag on the far side of the field.
You know, we haven't mentioned it enough today, but it's been a huge piece in this game already, right? Cam Smith, we didn't give him enough kudos on that big-time shot that he landed on Chiswick, but
number 22, 5-yard penalty, replay 4th down.
Looks like we're going to replay 4th down, but again, even to my point, special teams is going to be a huge factor here. Special teams coordinator David Padilla on that Charleston Southern sideline has got a group that's really firing on all cylinders, as we're going to see the late penalty here.
Now it's the offsides. So it moves it up. It's 4th and about 1. They're still going to bring the punt team back out. Ryan Levy, the redshirt sophomore from Tampa, Florida, back out. Didn't like the first punt. It's a second chance. That one a little bit better. As it's going to take a Furman bounce. Davis going to field it. Spins around one guy, still on his feet. Makes another one miss, and finally pushed out of bounds just past the 25. Now an extra push, and there's going to be a little extra laundry as Levy, the punter, came in with a late shove.
This is very unlike this Paladin team. Maybe, again, it's a trap game, looking forward. After a big-time East Tennessee State win last week, a team that was expected to win the SoCon, starting to make some uncharacteristic mistakes early on this Saturday.
After the play, personal foul. Kicking team, number 37, 15-yard penalty, 1st down.
Very often do you see a punter picking up an unsportsmanlike penalty?
I think he was a little upset after the hit that Saig laid on him after the last play, and a little frustration he wanted to take out. But again, Coach Hendricks was unbelievably gracious with us this week, gave us a lot of insight on this team and kind of the culture that they've built and that he's helped sustain in his half a lifetime of work there. And this first quarter doesn't represent what they've built for sure.
Holmgren gets the ball just about the 42-yard line of their own side. There'll be a handoff, weaving, bobbing, getting some space, and finally being pushed out of bounds. Roderick Hawkins. He's come out fired up today, and he's running the ball well.
How about that? Look at number 20. Find the hole, cut back, reminiscent of maybe a little Barry Sanders action. He's running better horizontally, better than he is vertically right now.
And he goes horizontally, and he gets hit hard. Good tackle. Right in the middle of the field. That's Jack Rhodes, who stepped up from the safety position to make the play. And we're really seeing Roderick Hawkins. We've talked, he's a bigger guy, listed at 5'8", 214, more of a downhill runner. Just putting a little bit of the moves on today.
Absolutely. Coach Denson's a running back guy, leads Notre Dame school program in rushing yards. He knows running back, and this kid is a stud.
Hawkins lowers the shoulder and took a big hit. There's the linebacker, like Alex Mayer, who stepped up to make the tackle.
That was a big shot, though. But again, they're not penalizing TJ Ruff for maybe making that one fumble, but Hawkins is a guy in this running back committee that we have not seen a lot of this year. Just the 4th week, and he's got the least amount of carries on the team from Tyler, Texas, a guy that's got a lot of upside, and he's showing it all.
Ruff in the backfield for this 3rd down and 5. As Malmgren drops back, looking over the middle, great defense. As Rhodes dove right across Caden Jordan to break that one up.
You want points for sure, but they're going to bring out the field goal team. Malmgren upset with himself. If you looked on the other side of the field, they had 2 crossing routes. He had Caden Jordan on the other side, but it looked like sometimes Malmgren, when he gets rolling, he gets locked into one guy. And right there was Vincent Davis. When it works, he just keeps going back to it. If he could just kind of go through his progressions and maybe find Jordan on the other side of the field, I think they may pick up that 1st down.
Should be about a 54-yard attempt from Sam Babish. He hit from 57 last week, which was a career long. Kick is up, and it's blocked.
Oh, got it.
The Paladins special teams unit making up for the fumble a little while ago, blocking the field goal, and it keeps it 7-3.
I believe it's going to be number 93, Jack Barton, the defensive end. I think he got his paw up there and smacked that thing away. I mean, he's a big leg up there. That's a huge stop again for the Paladins. And again, a little on brand with the way this first quarter's looked. 4 turnovers, I think 5 penalties already so far, now a blocked field goal. I think we're a blocked punt away to really kind of encompass how kind of ugly this first quarter has been so far.
You got your bingo card. You've been marking them off left and right. Huff going a deep shot down the sidelines. It's a fight for the ball, and it's picked off. Jamel Johnson.
Watch him, he turns his head around, he goes up and pinpoints this thing. Huff maybe a little frustrated with the way the offense is rolled, and he really tries to shovel it in there. What he didn't know is that the freshman, Jamel Johnson, was gonna play blanket coverage, go pinpoint the ball, and make an unbelievable play on that far sideline. It's an NFL pick, got 2 feet in there.
Johnson, the freshman from Covington, Georgia, had an interception last week. It was his first career interception, coming right out and making a big-time play in this one, as Malmgren gonna shovel one out to the right side. Ruff sidesteps one guy, and he gets swarmed. A loss of about a yard. And Johnson, he's had to step up. There's no Jordan Livingston today for this Charleston Southern defense. He's out with a foot injury.
You know, we
So
talk about
stepping up.
Talk about Coach Denson in this football ministry. That first week, Jeremiah McClendon goes out on a target call on the first play of the game. A lot of younger guys asked to do some things they've never done before.
Jordan gets it on the slant, and he is down close to the marker. And they're going to say he moved the chains. First down, Charleston Southern.
That's that same slant route that they had on 4th and 4 that, you know, Malmgren didn't see on the other side of the field. There he hits him. That's huge to make sure they pick up the first down and really continue this drive. But, you know, to our point, that's a young secondary, and it looks like they're really starting to grow up right in front of our eyes for that CSU defense.
Trips to the right for Malmgren. Going to go with a little bubble, and Davis gets blown up immediately. That was Cam Brinson stepping up to make the play.
He had this thing snuffed out from the get-go. But again, you obviously you want the wide receiver screen there. It's a missed block from the freshman Seth Anderson. So the play gets blown up on just a really nice effort play from Brinson. But sometimes you feel pump fake there, and it allows Malmgren to kind of feel the flow, ebb and flow of this game. But if he just would work through his progressions, right, work with Jordan and find your guy, that play didn't have a chance from the get-go.
You said ebb and flow. Hasn't been much flow in this first quarter. 5 turnovers, a blocked field goal, but it's 7-3 Charleston Southern after the first 15 minutes of football.
The right way to top a sub is with real red wine vinegar made from red.
With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Even easier than this.
We need a clutch hit. Derek Jeter.
Hang in there, rookie.
Yep, even easier than that. With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, is it even a decision? That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Welcome to Quick Trip.
Need some roller therapy?
Need a hand?
Need an extra large?
You need me to climb through your trunk and unlock your car?
Yeah, that actually happened.
If you need it, we have it. QT, more than a gas station.
Really? Really? Free testing and charging?
And if you need a new one, we've got you.
Really?
Welcome to America's #1 battery destination, AutoZone, your battery solution.
Yo, my name is Luis, and the little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Grilled Spicy Deluxe is the different flavors that are hitting your mouth at every millisecond. You get the explosion and the zestiness of the chicken, then that spice just kicks in, and if you add that cilantro lime, perfection.
Hi, this is Becky, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Grilled Spicy Deluxe is that marinade. They make sure that it is on the entire piece of chicken and not just on top. The pepper, whatever else is secret in their marinade, it's amazing.
Welcome, may I have your attention? Pull up a seat, begin the lesson. Ba-da-dum, let's go. I got that, you got that, we got that, boom.
The lead, their first one of the season through the first 15 minutes of football. Killian McClatchy, Jack DeLongshaw, the former Buccaneer, up in the booth with me as Ross Malmgren goes underneath to Vincent Davis on 2nd and long, and he is wrapped up quickly as Braden Gilby, the redshirt senior, the first one there to get to him. And Jack, it was a sloppy first quarter. A lot of things to clean up from both sides in the second.
Charleston Southern should be pretty thankful they've got a 7-3 lead, and I think that's what Coach Denson is thinking to himself. Again, we talked about wanting to stay out of these 3rd and long situations, and we talked about Malmgren. You saw in that last play at tight end, Landon Sowers kind of wide open right up the middle of the seam. Sometimes instead of taking the easy one, wanting to take a shot maybe downfield.
Malmgren sends J.D. Moore out in motion, flushed out of the pocket, and he'll throw to Moore, who tries to get around one man, but immediately gets wrapped up. Good tackle on this near side by Dominic Morris, who makes the play, and it'll bring up 4th down.
And again, it's exactly what Furman wanted him to do. Force him out of the pocket. Just a nice little check down to J.D. Moore. But again, as we head into the second quarter, Charleston Southern needs to be careful. This is a really disciplined Furman Paladin team. Coach Hendricks has been there for a long time, winning a lot of football games for this team. With that being said, they're not going to make this many turnovers and this many mistakes as this game progresses.
David Gell back out for the punt. Callie Chiswick awaits it. Good punt by Gelb as it's going to drop down, bouncing towards the end zone and just not getting there in time. And it'll come out to the 25 as Chiswick just let that one go over his head. Well, we have a second. Justin Beagle's been hanging out down in the sun on the sidelines. Justin, what do you got for us?
Well, first of all, I'm glad to report that I brought sunscreen this week. I got fried during our opening game this year. But we've talked a lot about Furman having one of the most prestigious football programs in all of college football. They're also a really good academic institution. And this past year, they added to their graduate program, which allowed them to bring in 5 graduate transfers, including the starting quarterback in Tyler Huff. We've heard a lot about college coaches taking advantage of the transfer portal, and Hendricks over there at Furman, no exception, able to get his quarterback bouncing back from that ACL, and now probably the most important person on offense here for the Paladins.
Thanks, Justin. Yeah, that grad program, when we talked to Coach, that was something that you don't really think of, especially in this day and age of college football with the transfers here, there, and everywhere. A school like Furman, that's not something that they traditionally did, but they're trying to start and change that.
You know, we talked about how the NIL and transfer portal has affected college football as a whole. Ooh, that's a big-time hit coming up from the secondary. I believe it was going to be, is that Cam Smith again with a big-time shot?
Actually, I think it was Bugsy Silvera who stepped up, and they ran right into the All-American tight end, Ryan Miller. That's his first catch of the game, and a big hit from Silvera.
Killen, I alluded to it on the last third down play on their last possession. Ryan Miller is a 2-time All-American. We didn't say his name the entire first quarter. He almost plays in that slot. It's got to be the fastest tight end in the country. He's a talent you could see on Sundays.
Slant and nearly intercepted. Cameron Smith stepped in front of the receiver. It was Luke Shiflett, the intended target. And it's going to bring up 4th down and short. And this CSU defense, once again, stepping up.
Again, they took it personal. This is a defense that hangs their hat on playing physical and swarming the football. Cam Smith with a really nice play. He's been all over the field today, but Tyler Huff just looks a little out of sync. But again, lean on your big-time two-time All-American Ryan Miller, who's been nothing but effective all year.
Davis calls for the fair catch, and he fields it at the 28-yard line, and that's where Ross Malmgren will head back out for another possession on offense. Charleston Southern with a lead here at Buccaneer Field.
Last year, I had more blood and platelet transfusions than I.
I've got that blue sky. I've got that sunshine.
With Whirlpool's largest capacity third rack dishwashers, you can fit holiday mugs on the top. Adjust the middle rack to fit birthday messes. And divide the silverware basket so more dishes fit down here. Load more, run less with our largest capacity third rack dishwashers from Whirlpool, America's #1 preferred dishwasher brand.
I'm the captain of the Pee Wee football team. We are mighty! Annoying. Go. Thanks, Mom. And if you have cut rate car insurance, then not even a Hail Mary will save you from paying for this. So get Allstate.
Yeah, I heard good things. Hello. Can we throw in the football game?
You're gonna have to ask him.
Okay. No. Football's better on 40-foot screens. Right, Travis Kelce? Huge TVs and lots of wings. Watch like a winner.
Adam, looky what I got.
Is that the new iPhone 14 Pro?
Yep, with this amazing new camera. Smile.
And you got it on Verizon.
iPhone 14 Pro on them. You should get one. Wow, you can hustle.
Get a new iPhone 14 Pro on us and get it with one unlimited for iPhone, only on Verizon.
Here we go!
Marathon has the fuel to keep your engine running at peak performance. Because you never know where life is going to take you.
Coming schedule brought to you in part by Sunbelt Rentals for Furman. They've got big-time games coming up. Samford, the Citadel, they're right here in the Low Country. A couple more big Southern Conference games as Ross Malmgren does the safe thing and just tosses that one away to the sidelines. Furman's 1-0 already. We mentioned the big win last week over a ranked East Tennessee State team. Trying to continue and build a little bit, and so far, after the first approaching 20 minutes now of football, Clay Hendricks a little less than pleased with how it's gone.
Absolutely. As we take a look at that schedule, Coach Hendricks mentioned to us the importance of this program of winning the state championship. Usually those big matchups against the Citadel, against Wofford. Now you introduce the Buccaneers. It's important for them to go 3-0. It's one of their team pillars.
Deep shot just off the hands, looking for Seth Anderson up the sidelines, and it'll bring up 3rd down and 10 as Seth Anderson, he's kind of been the go-to guy this year, especially when Malmgren wants to go deep and just couldn't get him.
It almost looked like that offensive line gave him a perfect pocket to step up in. I think if he takes a second to gather himself, step up in that pocket, deliver a ball, and allow Seth Anderson to run underneath it instead, he almost gives him his best George Pickens impression. Tries to snag that one hand.
3rd down and long. Motion out rough to the right. Malmgren over the middle. Davis makes the catch, gets around one man, breaks another tackle. It's a 1st down, cuts back at midfield. Davis still on his feet. He's got a blocker in front of him. Davis pushing his way towards the pylon and finally shoved out of bounds.
We saw it early in the game, a couple jet sweeps to Vincent Davis. Now you see why it's so important for this Buccaneer offense to get the ball in the dynamic freshman's hands. I mean, what a play, cutback.
15-yard penalty. Repeat, 3rd down.
You can wipe it off the board. Offensive pass interference.
It's going to be a rub route. So we saw it on that instant replay. If you can see it again, it's what allows Vincent Davis to get so open, but that's almost pretty on brand with what we've had today. A really exciting moment in this ball game. The whole place is going nuts, and just kidding, let's try again. But you see Seth Anderson rubs that rub route right up on that seam. It's what allows Vincent Davis to get so open. It doesn't allow the safety Cam Brinson to step up and make a play. It's why, we see that rub route. There's that huge play in the national championship with Clemson and Alabama a couple years back when Renfro was wide open. It's kind of when the rule where officials stepped in and said, hey, we got to make a difference here. But you see it there being put to use, and now Charleston Southern's looking at a long 3rd down.
So the explosive play wiped off the board, and Furman playing a very wide defense. They're just going to go underneath the TJ Ruff, and here come the white jerseys, and Ruff tackled by a host, and now a late flag comes in, and this one could be on Cam Brinson. We're going to have to see what the call is.
You see an emphatic Autry Denson, too. You talk about how much this game means to him. We talked about how Furman was his first ever matchup. This is a big one for him to almost kind of resurrect that last game, which he definitely wants to scrub from his memory.
Personal foul. Targeting. Defense. The previous play is under further review.
So they're going to come over and put on the headset and take a look for targeting for Ruff, and you'll see right here.
Wow, this would be a huge loss for the Paladin secondary. That's the redshirt junior Cam Brinson, who you've already said a couple times today. It's a big piece of that Furman secondary. What'd you see there, Killian?
That's a close one. That's the tough thing with targeting nowadays in college football, and with the way that the rules have now been worded, it's a lot of different interpretations, and we'll have to see what the officials come up with. It looks like it was a pretty quick one. I'll show you one more time. The official gets ready to make the announcement.
There is no targeting on the play. 4th down.
And to be quite honest with you, I think they get it right here. TJ Ruff it's so easy on an instant replay to slow it down and see that, hey, maybe he led with the shoulder, he aimed with the head, but with how dynamic these athletes are and how quick the play is, taking place, he heads down and he's already launched to make a tackle. In a 4th and 24 position there, he doesn't really need to take a shot, but boy, that's a close one.
I think that's very much a play where if Ruff has his head up a little bit higher, then you might be actually looking at a targeting call with the helmet to helmet. As another long punt by David Gelb. Look at this. That one rolls all the way down to inside the 1. David Gelb, take a bow, young man.
You're not going to see a better punt in the country this Saturday, folks. David Padilla, the special teams corner, is going to be stoked about that one.
David Gelb, the grad transfer from Maine, putting it inside the 1. Furman with the ball when we come back.
There's over 450 million hoopers out there. One will outscore the country and put Norman on the map. Less than 1% of high school players get a scholarship. Odds of freshmen would lead the nation in points and assists. One and never been done. 1.3% of college players get drafted. Only one would drop 48 and 11 in the conference finals. One will know this is just the beginning. Trey had a 1.5 billion chance to get here, but he saw a possibility.
Citywide to countryside. Whatever you drive, wherever you go. Hercules Tires has the value, selection, and industry-leading protection to get you there, no matter where the road takes you. Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
The B1 Performance Patch elevates physical functions by transforming carbs into glucose used to fuel the body. Don't compete without it. Visit buyb1.com or on social media at B1Patch.
There's not a secret to what actually happens behind the scenes at a bank. Here at First Citizens, we're trying to educate the client in each step of what's actually going to happen and actually have them make the educated decision around what steps and what options they utilize. We want to become that trusted advisor that actually guides them down that road, helping you reach your goals. That's Forever First.
Upcoming schedule for Charleston Southern brought to you by Sunbelt Rentals. They hit the road for a couple games at Campbell, and then they head all the way up to Rhode Island to play new Big South member Bryant before coming back home, as we're going to have a stoppage.
Offense, number 2, half the distance to the goal. First down.
On a real long penalty that will pin Furman back even further. A 77-yard punt inside the 1 by David Gelb. And Tyler Huff has the shadow of their own goalposts over his shoulders.
Special teams has been such a huge factor already. Look to see a lot of pressure here defensively. Was he in the end zone?
Waiting for the official to come in and make the official word. They're going to come together. It's a safety.
Well, it was a swarm of blue jerseys absolutely attacking the football. I believe we're going to see number 30, Sherry Jefferson, in there again. He's laid a couple massive hits here. And as you can see, it's him, it's Garrett Say. An absolutely unbelievable play. And with the way this game has gone, are we surprised to see a safety? I mean, seriously.
I mean, you've got 5 turnovers. You got a blocked field goal, muffed punt, a safety.
And I'd hate to refer to it again, but Tyler Huff did go to make a throw, and the ball just completely fell out of his hand. This whole game has been a little bit of a not top 10 deal, but can we give a little courtesy, a little shout out to David Gelb for that safety as well? But Sherry Jefferson, that's his third hit of the day. That is absolutely clean clocks. A big play for this defense. Again, we talked about how personally they've taken the points on the board, and it's very unlike this Autry Denson defense that we've seen the last 5 years, and boy, have they showed up in a big way today.
So this kick is going to be from the 25 after the safety, a 9-3 Charleston Southern lead. As Vincent Davis going to go ahead and jog on back. He's going to be one of the two men waiting for this safety kick. As Ian Williams boots it, fielding it at about the 13-yard line as Davis. He's going to take his time. Davis weaves his way through, still on his feet, and finally gets wrapped up at the 35-yard line. Charleston Southern, we've talked about how Autry Denson and this defense, it's kind of been the calling card, and it's kept CSU in games really throughout Autry Denson's tenure, and right now, they're lifting everything up today.
Absolutely. We're seeing a very emphatic Autry Denson right now. Maybe a potential late hit on the play. Boy, is he fired up. But to your point, Killian, I think this is maybe the most important drive of the game so far. Because at this point in the game, it's a 9-3 ball game for the Bucks. All the momentum in the world is on their side, yet Furman's still just down a score. They need to extend the lead to really put a point on this game.
J.D. Moore is going to fall forward, picks up about 5. Moore, the third man in the backfield for Charleston Southern, starting to get a little more action in this second quarter as we roll along. About 10:50 left to go in the first half. Malmgren going to hand off to Moore. Makes a couple guys miss into space. First down, Moore with a stiff arm. Tries to put it out one more time. He took the right hand and put it right in Micah Robinson's face.
Boy, Killer, let me tell you, we talked about running back committee. It's almost like each guy has had their turn on each possession, and boy, is J.D. Moore making the most of it. Look at that old Najee Harris-esque face mask right to the grill. A big-time run to pick up the first.
Malmgren has to wait, spins around, and he gets tackled and spun down. A couple white jerseys. Jeremiah Jackson was the first man there for the Paladins.
Second and 9 from the Furman 41.
You know, we've struggled to kind of see Malmgren get it going in the air, but we talked about how important it was for them to run the ball. So for this offensive front to create some holes for these running backs to hit has been huge today for the Bucks.
Malmgren swings it out to Davis, who's got another reception. He gets brought down, picks up a couple to bring up third down and about 6 or 7. With an injury update, we throw it down to Justin.
Hey guys, yeah, we're seeing Moore as the feature back right now. Roderick Hawkins having his hamstring worked on by the training staff, but he still is dressed with his helmet on. We'll see if he comes back into the game.
Thanks, Justin. That is something we haven't seen Roderick Hawkins. He was kind of the guy on that touchdown possession. And now J.D. Moore getting a little more work in the backfield. Is it third down and 6? They're going to spin him out to the left. Malmgren steps up, tries to lob it over the head. Some miscommunication between him and Caden Jordan will bring up fourth down.
You know, you expect to see Caden Jordan there on third down. It looked like he almost lost his footing. Really nice coverage there by number 3, Cam Brinson, kind of over the top with Caden Jordan being the featured receiver today. But again, that's a huge stop for Furman. It feels like all the momentum in the world is on that Buccaneer sidelines with all the mistakes and miscues that the Paladins have made. If I told you you turned the ball over 3 times, you gave up a safety, and I told you you're still only down 6, Coach Hendricks would be pretty happy about it. Not so happy about all the miscues, though.
David Gell back out for another punt. See if he can match what he did last time. Tumbling punt, drops down, and just kept out of the end zone. The special teams making plays today, Jack.
I mean, if the game ended today, David Gell would be our player of the game, and to be quite honest, it wouldn't be close.
Safeties. It's 9-3. Charleston Southern defense getting some points on the board themselves.
Power isn't born, it's built over time. for over 60.
Oh, Bros. Must be really good, actually.
The funniest movie of the year is 94% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I want to see that. Gay guys are my jam.
It's a new twist on the romantic comedy.
I have to go to a party and you're too old to be in the pool. Please leave.
I can't remember the last time I felt so much joy at the movies.
Maybe you're both bottoms and that's the problem.
Ooh, bottom day.
Gay sex was more fun when straight people were uncomfortable with it.
Bros, rated R.
Let's take it slow. Slow, slow.
Mom?
Wow. Wow. And they'll check them both for free.
Yes.
Fix Finder, the most complete free warning light report backed by technician verified fixes.
For that, proud sponsor of Big South Football on ESPN Plus. And first play right out of the gate, Tyler Huff tried to go deep. He was looking for Kendall Dean and couldn't get it to him. It nearly got intercepted as Jamel Johnson was right there again.
You know, once, never twice they didn't want to risk running the ball in this Buccaneer linebacking core stepping up and making another big-time safety. But again, you look to see Ryan Miller. I feel like we haven't said his name enough. It's probably the fastest tight end in the country. Look to go to him here in times of need.
Miller, 22 receptions, 219 yards coming into the day. They're going to hand it off and making a couple guys miss. Good gain on second down to move the sticks. Good plays coming out of the backfield. It was Kendall Thomas, the redshirt sophomore from Round Rock, Texas.
We talked about how effective this defense has been swarming to the football. That's the first time you really see him just arm tackle today, and he just easily breaks through it.
Huff pitch, swarmed a couple of blue jerseys right there. Great defense from Charleston Southern as that one had sniffed that one out real quick.
I was going to say, you're going to see the captain, Jerome Rice, step up, and he doesn't go for the fake. He's going to get a half a tackle here. But in the box score, you're not going to see the fact that he really blew this play up. That's a huge play from the captain.
Jerome Rice III, the grad student, Spartanburg, South Carolina.
Looked like he was shot out of a cannon on that play.
He's got football blood. His dad played at Wake Forest. Huff gets around one man, rolling all the way out to his right, comes back. Smith nearly intercepted. That one was intended for Joshua Harris. And this Charleston Southern secondary, they're a little depleted with no Jordan Livingston. They got picked on the first couple weeks in the season, and they're making plays today.
We talked about that's Cam Smith again. It feels like we've said his name all afternoon. He is growing up right in front of our eyes, but there he is again. Anton Williams with another quarterback pressure. The elusiveness of Tyler Huff is allowed to get away from the sack, but Williams really forced that errant throw.
Huff drops back on 3rd and long. He's going to go underneath. Finds his man. Wayne Anderson Jr. reeled it in, but he got tackled immediately. As Charleston Southern, the defense, going to force another punt.
You're going to watch him. He's the rover. That's Edward Owusu. That's a redshirt freshman that it was kind of expected him to fill a lot of shoes of Chandre Mims and Nick Sally, CSU Buccaneer legends really up front. Owusu, a younger guy that's still learning a lot, but boy, does he have the athleticism to fill those shoes. A really nice play.
Kicking team. 12 players in formation. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
And it just continues. 12 men on the field for Furman. And that'll back punter Ryan Levy up even further. It's going to be his 5th punt of the game, and this one he's standing the end of his own end zone. As Levy gets it away, Davis going to step up and going to let it bounce, and it's not going to get into CSU territory. It's going to be grabbed at the 44-yard line of Furman. We've had the follies so far today. 5 turnovers, and it started on this one by Charleston Southern.
You know, it's been both sides. It's like at the first quarter, neither team really wanted to score. And, you know, we talked to Coach Hendricks this week on that Furman sideline, and he was such a gracious guy. And let me tell you, at the halftime, I don't think he's going to be so gracious with his players because these turnovers have absolutely been drive killers for that Paladin offense.
Seen 2 interceptions, 3 fumbles as into the game, and handing off J.D. Moore. Actually have the backup quarterback Isaiah Bess, the redshirt freshman, stepping into the game.
You know, Bess got a little bit of action last week. Curious to see almost in that situation if it's a Wildcat form, but boy, can Bess throw the football. It's a big body back there, 6'4", and he's got a real cannon. Look to see maybe him try to take a shot, really keep this Paladin defense sleeping.
Bess going to drop back to pass. His first throw bobbled by Caden Jordan. Hugh Ryan was there in coverage as Jordan couldn't reel it in.
But you can see the big-time strong arm there for Bess. You know, that's maybe just a learning opportunity, right? As a younger guy getting a shot here. On those quick little slants, maybe you don't need to throw the 65-mile-per-hour heater right into Jordan. As sure-handed he is, that's a tough catch for anybody.
3rd and 11. Bess this season, he's 6 of 16 coming to the day. A touchdown and an interception. Bess going deep, looking for Cale Anderson, and just through the arms of the wide receiver up the sideline. And it'll bring out the punt team.
You know, he had the free safety, Hugh Ryan, over top for help, and Bess puts this ball only where Anderson can go to catch it. It's a really nice defensive play, but almost right off the fingertips. It's a really nice throw. I like to see them keep taking shots. If it's Bess the rest of the game, I think they will.
Ross Malmgren was on the sideline that possession, helmet on, just standing and watching. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on the next time CSU has the ball. As Gelb, he's had 2 phenomenal punts back-to-back. Chiswick going to field this one, and it'll be fair caught at the 7. Much better than the 1 where David Gelb's been living so far today.
As a special teams coordinator, anytime the punt lands inside the 10, you're good with it. It's a big-time job well done. But with the way that Gelb was punted today, I think they're probably shocked that they're not going to have to play underneath the shadows of the field goal post on this drive. You know, it's an interesting piece, you know, Killian, as we've studied this Charleston Southern team. Tony Bartolo opened the season up as the backup quarterback. He took a huge shot against Western Carolina, has been dealing with a banged-up shoulder. I wonder if it's a situation where Bess has really showed a lot of promise in practice and is getting an opportunity to show out here on Saturday.
Huff rolls out. He finds his man underneath. That's Kendall Dean. He's tackled. Jamel Johnson right there to wrap him up by the ankles and hold him to a gain of about 5.
Again, you mentioned it early in the game, but we're seeing these young secondary. Jamel Dean, obviously, they pick early in the game. That's a really nice open field tackle to contain it to just 2nd and 4, because if he breaks that tackle, he's got a lot of turf to run.
Kendall Dean, one of those grad transfers on this roster from James Madison. As Huff swings it out to the left, nice catch, and in a little bit of space, Joshua Harris gets spun down by Saig. It'll move the chains.
It seems like this Furman offense has been very methodical so far in this game. Looked at, you know, we talked about time of possession. They Charleston Southern's that air raid attitude, right? They want to get rid of the ball, and they want to score fast. Furman, on the other hand, really wants to control the rock, and they haven't been able to do so.
Huff going to keep it himself on the read option as he gets tackled. Saig, the first man there. He fell forward, about 5.
I think that was actually the outside linebacker, number 55, Nick Perry. Looks like that second unit of linebackers is on for this possession. Obviously, Garrett Saig, the veteran, kind of holding it down as the Mike, but Nick Perry with a really nice play from the offside.
Huff trying to get something going for this offense. He pulls the play action. Now rolls out to his right, stiff arm, and tackled, losing the helmet. On the way was Nick Perry, but he held on to make the play.
You love that shot, right? As a football guy, he gets a little FaceTime here. That's a huge time play. You talk about it, the Huff plays so physical downfield. You watch, he's not very easy to tackle. Saig makes a really nice play to try to blow up the backfield, but delivers a pretty clean stiff arm to the chin of Nick Perry there.
So 3rd down. Furman 0 for 6 so far today. This is a team that was converting on nearly 50% coming in. Huff underneath to his tight end Miller with all sorts of space. 1st down and more as he dives up to the 40-yard line. And Ryan Miller, they need to get him more involved in the offense as this game goes on.
When in doubt, you go to the big fella, right? We talked about the explosiveness you see just kind of leak out there, but he tied a career high. He had 13 catches against Clemson just 2 weeks ago. This guy's a dynamic athlete, I'm telling you. He's got the skill set to play at the next level. He blocks really well, but his ability to play out wide, you're going to see at the bottom of the screen. Tight ends don't go that wide, and boy, can he make it happen because of how explosive he is.
Going up the middle, and Huff thought there was a hold there for Dominic Roberto, who got tripped up, gained a couple yards. Miller, you mentioned the 13 catches, tied the Furman single-game program record. He's caught a touchdown pass in 6 straight games. If you need somebody in the red zone, you always look to 83. There's another handoff. Roberto again off the left side, and pushes himself forward close to the line to gain right at midfield.
And it's been, deep. We talk about running back by committee, but this blue swarm defense is swarming to the football, but the big fella, Dominic Roberto, it's going to take a couple guys to bring him down. You see a running back that he's 231. He really does look like a middle linebacker there in the backfield with Huff.
Going from the pistol, 3rd down and 1. Huff, QB draw, keeps himself 1st down, still on his feet, and he gets shoved down to the ground. Hombre Kennedy, the captain, shoved him to the ground, and Furman finally moving, and
you're going to see him come off the field. Looks like Hombre Kennedy lays a shot right there on that left shoulder. I don't want to allude to maybe an injury, but it almost looks like he dislocated that shoulder. We're not going to discuss it, but it didn't look good, and you just hate to see that from the graduate senior. It definitely didn't look like a pretty one.
So Tyler Huff coming off very lame on that left arm.
Oh, and you're going to see the way it's tough to look at home, folks. I mean, you don't like gruesome injuries. That's not a good one. And we're thinking about Tyler Huff, and boy, that was a tough shot to take. And, now it's going to be the sophomore quarterback, number 16, Jace Wilson, who was in a similar position last year, killing him.
Yeah, Wilson from Missouri City, Texas. He's 8 of 9 this season for 77 yards. He did start 6 games last year for this Furman team. As Wilson right into the game, hands off to Roberto, up the middle, big gain, and moves the chains. 1st down right out of the gates for Jace Wilson, and what can we expect to see from him?
Well, it's a younger guy, right? And Coach Hendricks talked about last year how maybe the offense was just a step too ahead of him. So to learn from a guy like Tyler Huff, well, now we're about to see how much knowledge and wisdom he was able to absorb in just the last 4 weeks. But got to make life easy on him. Lean on Dominic Roberto. Go to your guy, Ryan Miller. Make life easy for the young sophomore.
Wilson drops back, airing it for the end zone, leaping up, trying for the one-handed catch was Harris, but he couldn't reel it in.
you know, if I'm that Furman offense, I think I'm about tired of picking on Cam Smith because, boy, has he been all over the field today. Watching him to see, pretty good ball. He tries to go, you know what, Most on top of him, but he's able to turn the head and make a really nice play to break that play up.
2nd down and 10 for Wilson. He went 4-2 a year ago as the team starter. On his way to earning all freshman team honors in the Southern Conference as Roberto barrels his way forward. It'll be 3rd down and inches.
You know, I'm surprised from this Charleston Southern defense. It looks like they almost get a little conservative again with the young freshman, young sophomore quarterback. I'd like to see them bring a lot of pressure and, you know, almost stuff the box, take away a run from Dominic Roberto, because I'd like to see them make the sophomore beat you in the air.
So 3rd down and short. Converted their first 3rd down on this possession. Going to try and keep the drive alive. Wilson going to hand it off and met in the backfield. Sherry Jefferson was the first man there, and it's going to bring up 4th down.
I believe that's Jefferson's 5th tackle already on the day. You got to imagine they go for it. Here you trust the kicking game. You need points on the road, but I'd continue to lean on the big back. It looks like they're going to bring in number 32, the senior back, Devin Abrams, in for this 4th down.
Abrams 6'1", 215. Scored the first touchdown of his collegiate career against Charleston Southern back in 2019. And now it's a 4th and inches. They're going to go from the shotgun. 40 seconds left in the half. Wilson going to pull it. Miller wide open, all sorts of room. Tiptoes the sideline and finally pushed out. It'll stop the clock, and Furman keeps the drive going.
When in doubt, go to the 2-time All-American. Watch him. It's a perfect little play-action play. It's an RPO. So he sticks it into the gut of Devin Abrams. And if if Miller's able to get free on the outside, he's going to pull it. And as you saw, deliver that big-time throw and catch on 4th down. Again, it's right in the gut, and he's able to read it really clear. It's a really nice play from Jace Wilson. And like you mentioned, Ryan Miller looking to continue that consecutive touchdown streak.
Wilson rolls out to his left. He's got a wide open lane and into the end zone. Touchdown, Jace Wilson, and Furman has tied the game back up in the dying moments of the first half.
Well, we're thinking about number 6, Tyler Huff, because boy, was that an ugly injury. But in a sloppy game, Jace Wilson brings a calming presence and is able to march the Paladins down the field and give them a lead going into half. Really impressive out of the sophomore.
26.8, LaPro puts up the extra point, and the Paladins back on top 10-9 in a ugly first half of football, but a 1-point lead for that visiting sideline.
Some happy Paladin fans over there. You love to see what you had out of Jace Wilson there, but it'll be interesting to see injury report what's going on with Tyler Huff as we send our best wishes and prayers down to him. But Charleston Southern, you got 26 seconds, 3 timeouts left. It'll be curious to see what they bring out at quarterback to try to take a shot and maybe hopefully regain the lead heading into the half.
And speaking of Tyler Huff, we got an update from our man down on the sidelines, Justin.
Yeah, that's right, guys. Could be bad news for the Paladins. I just saw Tyler Huff walk out of the medical tent. He was waving his shoulders, saying he thinks it's dislocated. No word on if he's going to come back into the game or not, but the trainers are still attending to him at this time. They'll get it iced up at halftime and see what happens in the 3rd quarter.
Thanks, Justin. So could be a big loss. Jace Wilson, though, very sturdy guy in the backup spot, stepping in, helping lead the team down the field for the touchdown. And Furman, they're going to get the ball to start this second half as well. So that possession right there and getting points was key.
Absolutely. And Jace Wilson, again, he brought such a calm presence. That RPO offense looked like it was not going to fault just because they brought in the backup. But, you know, to Tyler Huff's point, a guy when we talked to Coach Hendricks, he's delivered big time. And it looks like it is going to be number 2, Isaiah Best, coming out. But Huff, a dynamic athlete, looking not to skip a beat when they go to the backup, Jace Wilson.
So the backup for Charleston Southern, Isaiah Best, out for another possession. You see, you got 26.8. You've got 3 timeouts. As
First charge timeout.
well, make it 2 timeouts now as Autry Denson burns one. I was about to ask you.
I think he heard you, man.
You got 26 seconds. We saw this Charleston Southern offense go down the field in about a minute and a half against Western Carolina. Do you take a couple chances?
I would hope so, right? You know, curious to see them burn a timeout with the clock already stopped. That kind of hurts your chances, but maybe he wanted to see what defense they ran out. It looked like they had a nickel defense with the 5th D-back out there on the outside, but with as big a leg as you have on special teams, you know, we talked about the 57-yarder last week. They lined up to hit a 54-yarder today. You love to see them try to steal some points as they head into half.
Yeah, Babish had the first field goal blocked from 54 as they're just going to hand it off to J.D. Moore, who gets swarmed and wrapped up by a gaggle of white jerseys. As the time going to tick away, and I think they're going to let it roll and take it into the half.
And here's my opinion, if anybody cares to hear it. You're 0-3. We're not in conference play yet. Take a shot. You know, I understand the idea of being conservative in the sense you don't want to make a mistake and allow the Paladins to then score, but take a shot. You're 0-3. It's week 4. Let's have some fun.
Well, that's it for the first 30 minutes of football. Charleston Southern, they had a 9-3 lead at one point. We've had a safety, a blocked field goal, but Jace Wilson, the backup quarterback for Furman, comes into the game and punches it in to give them a 10-9 lead. We got the Jersey Mike's halftime report coming up on the other side of this break.
The right way to top a sub.
Have your attention. Pull up a seat, begin the lesson. Ba-da-dum, let's go. I got that, you got that, we got that, boom.
We made USAA Renters Insurance for the stuff you love. Because if it's worth lugging up 5 floors, it's worth protecting for as low as 33 cents a day. It's that simple. USAA, what you're made of, we're made for.
Adam, looky what I got.
Is that the new iPhone 14 Pro?
Yep, with this amazing new camera. Smile.
And you got it on Verizon.
iPhone 14 Pro on them. You should get one. Wow, you can hustle.
Get a new iPhone 14 Pro on us. And get it with one unlimited for iPhone. Only on Verizon.
Quiet.
When I told Pretty Tony, listen to my tone, you ain't catching you a Tony. I walk when they walk, when you running with a shotty. Why you running from us? Why you messing with us? Maybe polar. You ain't ready, ready, roll up. Pull up machete, cut the bamboo paper. Let's roll out, baby, loud. Frankie.
Hey, turns out you don't need a car to listen to Sirius XM. You can listen on the app in your room, at the pool, at your daughter's dance recital.
Conan, not this again.
Or on a yacht, or a bow rider, any kind of ship.
And stop taking my pajamas.
Oh, Larry, I can watch you while watching you.
Why would you do that?
Because I'm a sad man with little to do. I can listen at the bus stop. I can listen to NFL play-by-play at work.
Tennis is superb. Tennis is fire.
Tennis is sick.
Let's go.
Tennis can change the world. Come on.
This is tennis too. Good morning.
It's my first time.
Not mine.
What makes for a great story? A great story has magic, power, and every once in a while, it has miracles. It needs an opening that sucks you in, and a mind-blowing ending that has you hanging on every snap. That's what makes for a great story. And as luck would have it,
back in Charleston, Furman with a 10-9 lead. Got the Jersey Mike's halftime report for you. Here from Buccaneer Field, Killian McClatchy, Jack DeLongshot up here in the booth. And Jack, it was the first half. Furman with a late touchdown to get it going, but it was really turnovers, and it started right here.
You know, it's got to be a little deflating for Archer Denson, his sideline, to feel like they had a lot of momentum in that first half, but just didn't execute properly. But Coach Hendricks is going to have a lot to say to his football team because, boy, should they feel lucky that they're up a point. But you look to see quarterbacks really settle into this game. You know, it's maybe a trap game for both teams as they head into conference play, but you look to see quarterbacks starting to settle down and play a cleaner game tonight.
And we're going to see, the way it's looking at least, we know for Furman it looks like it's going to be Jace Wilson as Tyler Huff went down with an injury right near the end of that first half. And we've seen Isaiah Best for the last couple as here's Wilson scurrying into the end zone. So it might be the backup quarterbacks battling it out for this win.
You know, Best is a big 6'4", 220 body. Maybe it's an opportunity for him to prove himself moving into Big South play, and it'll be really interesting to kind of move forward into this season if he's the guy. He does have the intangibles.
Well, 10-9 through the first half of play. The Charleston Southern Band out there. A little bit of a halftime performance. We'll leave you with the sights and sounds of them as the Jersey Mike's halftime report rolls on from Charleston.
Seriously? Now there's a hole in your defense. Look at the size of that. Gap! Is that a goat?
You talking about me?
Gap! I think this goat is saying gap.
Must be talking about the expenses health insurance doesn't cover.
So who's talking about the money Aflac pays to help close that gap?
Aflac! Gap! Aflac! Gap! It's about to go down, baby. Aflac!
Get help with expenses health insurance doesn't cover. Aflac is an official sponsor of ESPN College Game Day.
Adam, looky what I got.
Is that the new iPhone 14 Pro?
Yep, with this amazing new camera. Smile.
And you got it on Verizon.
Even better. I got Verizon's new plan. Includes Apple One. That's Apple Music, Apple TV Plus, Apple Arcade, iCloud Plus.
I hear the acting's pretty good on that one.
So is the deal I got from Verizon. iPhone 14 Pro on them. You should get one. Ooh, selfie time.
Wow, you can hustle when you need to.
Get a new iPhone 14 Pro on us and get it with one unlimited for iPhone, only on the network America relies on. Verizon.
Hi, I'm Alok, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Grilled Spicy Deluxe is it has that kick. Not too spicy, but it's just enough for your taste buds to feel that level of heat. And you're like, ooh, this is good. It's the perfect amount of spicy.
Hi, I'm Capri, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Grilled Spicy Deluxe is the chicken. You can tell they actually put it on the grill, cooked it in the sauce, marinated it. You're definitely getting a good grilled spicy sandwich.
It's your journey. Own it in the Hyundai Tucson. Hyundai all-wheel drive SUVs come with complimentary maintenance and America's best warranty. Hurry in.
What happens when you do see it?
It wears people's faces like masks.
I have to face it.
Smile. Rated R.
10-9. Got the Jersey Mike's halftime report continuing on. Killian McClatchy, Jack DeLongshot, Justin Beagle down on the sidelines. We got your First Citizens Bank halftime stats. First Citizens Bank forever first. And the numbers, it's real interesting on there. Not a lot of yards. Obviously, we don't have a lot of points, and it's really been the defenses stepping up and making plays.
I think Coach Denson's got to be pleased with the way they ran the football. Roderick Hawkins getting his really first action of the year as the premier back showed a lot of promise, but the defense, it showed back up. And boy, did they put the pressure on Furman. Excited to see whether they continue to volume up the pressure now that the backup quarterback is in the game for the Paladins.
Yeah, we've seen the backup quarterbacks for both. Jace Wilson in the game after the injury to Tyler Huff. We'll hopefully get an update on him out of the halftime break. And then Isaiah Bess has stepped into that role and quarterback Charleston Southern after the last two possessions. And Ross Malmgren didn't necessarily have a bad first half, went 13-20 with an interception, but only 56 yards. His long of the game, 17 yards.
You know, we talked about Killian, the importance of kind of going through your progressions, and for Ross, at times it felt like he just wanted to hit the check down in the flats. You know, moving forward, it looked like they might be impressed. Who's obviously a big-time quarterback with a big-time arm to see if they try to stretch it downfield. But for the Buccaneers, right, same for Furman. In those moments of need, they go to their guy, and that's Ryan Miller for the Paladins, the two-time All-American. For the Bucs, you saw him target him early. I expect to see Caden Jordan make a big play in the second half, and I think that's why they brought in Bess to get it to him.
Well, that's your First Citizens Bank halftime stats. The Jersey Mike's halftime report continues on as Charleston Southern Band continues playing here on a beautiful day in Charleston. 10-9. We'll be right back on ESPN+.
The right way to top a sub is with real red wine vinegar.
Welcome to Quick Trip.
Need some roller therapy?
Need a hand?
Need an extra large? You need me to climb through your trunk and unlock your car? Yeah, that actually happened.
If you need it, we have it. QT, more than a gas station.
Bravo!
For buying a treadmill?
You use the Quicksilver card from Capital One. It's simple, with no annual fee and unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase everywhere. That makes you the hero of every purchase.
Yeah.
And heroes don't take the stairs.
Is this a parachute?
What's in your wallet?
Yo, I used to listen to you when I was a kid. That's what's up.
People don't have the chutzpah for rhymes anymore.
Hey! Is that a girlfriend?
You can't kidnap your own dad. I don't have time to explain it, but the word kid is in it.
FX's Atlanta, the final season. All new Thursdays on FX. Stream on Hulu.
What if you were a global energy company with customers in different places on different systems? So you call in IBM and Red Hat to create an open hybrid cloud platform. Now data is available anywhere securely. Let's create a hybrid cloud that can change an industry. IBM, let's create.
Marathon has the fuel to keep your engine running at peak performance. Because you never know where life is going to take you.
Want to go head-to-head with the Heismans? Get in on the action at theheismanhouse.com.
RPMs raise your BPMs? If the open road is an open invitation, then get up and go. Go turn some heads. Go turn a wrench. Go windows down. Go volume up. Go in. Go out. Go off. Napa has America's largest network of parts and care, here to keep you firing on all cylinders.
Bravo!
For buying a treadmill?
You use the Quicksilver card from Capital One. It's simple, with no annual fee and unlimited 1.5%.
To 9, the Furman Paladins lead the Charleston Southern Buccaneers here at Buccaneer Field. The team starting to make their way back out to get warmed up for the second half of action, or the Furman Paladins will get the ball first. We got some scores from around the Big South Conference. As early on, not a ton of games going on just yet. The Ingles games around the conference. ETSU laying a whooping on Robert Morris today, 42-0. ETSU comes out angry after the loss last week to Furman, and then Bryant playing Long Island 14-7 in the first quarter there. A couple of games later on tonight, which should be a really fun one between Mercer and Gardner-Webb at 6 p.m.
You know what's funny about that ETSU team? They received the most votes to win the SoCon this year, and boy, did Furman come out and make a statement, but they look to build on it here today.
Those are your Ingles games around the conference, the scores. We're going to take one more break. You've been watching the Jersey Mike's halftime report. When we come back, we'll have more football. 10-9, Furman getting the ball on the other side of this break. Start the second half.
Well, would you look at that?
Jerry, you gotta see this.
Saying it. Trust me, after 15 walks, gets a little old.
Yeah, I really should be retired by now.
Wish I invested when I had the chance. To the moon. Unbelievable.
Stop waiting. Start investing. E-Trade from Morgan Stanley.
Listen, I need y'all to download the AMP app so you can call in my show. Or you can call in someone else's show. Or you can start a show and people can call into your show. But either way it goes, it's all on the AMP app, so come on.
Guys, I got a game today. I need a ride.
But it's only Saturday.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. College kid.
Who took my helmet?
Ready.
Where are my socks?
I need more club.
Have you seen my pads?
Fashion.
I'm coming, Baker.
That's where we headed this week.
Texas.
Texas. Road trip.
When summer changes into fall, I feel the need to resist change. I must not change. I must not change.
Who the heck am I kidding? Now's a great time to change out your old ride for a new one at Big O.
Because during Ram Power Days, get 0% for 72 months on new Ram 1500s. Find that and a huge selection of new Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram vehicles only at Big O, under that big American flag on the Motor Mile.
Okay, Gunner. Downward dog. Some things never change.
Musco Lighting. We make it happen.
Oh, bros. Must be really good, actually.
Half is wrapped up. The Jersey Mike's halftime report is over. It is 10-9. Furman on top of Charleston Southern here in Charleston, South Carolina, Buccaneer Field. Welcome up to the booth one more time before we get this second half started. Killian McClatchy, Jack DeLongshaw, and Jack. First half was a little sloppy, was a little interesting, and you know, we had some ideas for both sides on the second half.
Here's the deal. Coach Hendricks said it perfectly. They're a white-collar university and a blue-collar football team. You look to see them come out and play angry. For Charleston Southern, it's going to be important for them to continue to bring pressure up front and get your guy, Jaden Jordan's the football. When you get the ball in that superstar's hands, good things happen. And for Charleston Southern, this is their first lead of the game they had when they were up 9-3. They got to be great when they need to, meaning in those clutch moments of this second half, they need to be able to deliver. For Furman, they have to take better care of the football. We're going to have these backup quarterbacks in the game. It'll be exciting to see which backup quarterback can really deliver in this opportunity to help his team win.
How about that pretty face up in the top left corner of that thing right there? Shout out our crew down there, Nick Case, in charge of it all, as got a little squib kick, which is going to give Furman the ball about the 33, 34-yard line. And Justin Beagle, our man down on the sidelines, he got the chance to catch up with both coaches coming out of the break.
That's right, guys. First off, talking with Coach Hendricks, he said his offense could not have played much worse in that first half, but he liked the way they responded there on that final drive before going into the locker room. As for Tyler Huff, he is out of the game. He did not specify on that injury. I did not see Huff run out onto the field with his teammates, dressed or undressed, for the start of the second half. Probably still in the back receiving some attention. As for Autry Denson, he said they had too many missed opportunities left out there on the football field, but he liked the way his defense played, forcing all of those turnovers. He said despite Huff not being in the game, that Furman's not going to change their game plan, and neither will they. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Justin, as Jace Wilson completes his first pass out of the halftime break, hits Ryan Miller, and you saw that play. That's not tight end speed right there. He just showed off. He had a goal, put his foot down, and now a handoff right up the middle. Devin Abrams wrapped up, as that was run into a Quinton Sagan with the tackle.
With that RPO that they do run, it's a little play action, it's a little misdirection, but it's uncharacteristic to be able to do it with a tight end. That's why we mention it, and SoCon guys rave about it, and defenses really struggle to scheme against this guy because it legitimately is Sunday speed. It's an athleticism that you could see next year at the next level, because what he is able to bring to the blocking game and then also into the flats with that speed is truly uncharacteristic.
Another handoff going to go right back to Abrams, who tries to find the edge but gets tripped up. A couple of Buccaneers there to take down the redshirt senior. We've talked plenty about Miller. He's a fifth-year senior from Jackson, Tennessee. Preseason All-American. He was on the Walter Payton watch list, which is the Offensive Player of the Year for the FCS level. Guy, he's chasing down a bunch of records in the Furman history books, as he's going to go in motion now to the left side of Wilson. Wilson, little screen pass underneath. Abrams spins out on one tackle. He's going to get the first down and chased from behind and thrown down by Sagan.
You know, Devin Abrams is a guy we didn't see a ton of in the first half because of really how Dominic Roberto is. But Abrams is a guy that Coach Hendricks mentioned to us in our interview. It's one of his favorite guys on the team. You're not necessarily supposed to play favorites, but he just said he's so much fun to be around. His teammates revolve around him. He's a guy that goes to work, and he doesn't mind his role regardless what it is. Special teams, backup, running back, and he's been pretty effective so far in the second half.
Right there, Anton Williams blowing that play up in the backfield as Wilson kept it on the read option, and a loss of about 3 or 4.
And he's able to stay home, and we haven't talked about, the two big tackles for Furman up front, both all SoCon preseason first-team picks. Anderson Tomlin's going to be on the left side. Pearson Toomey coming off of torn ACL last year on the right side. Well, let me tell you, Anton Williams got the best of that matchup, but they sure do love their twin towers up front up for the Paladine sideline.
Abrams fighting forward, gets taken to the ground by Kennedy eventually. Tomlin, he's on the left side, the redshirt senior, 6'5", 301, a preseason All-American selection on this offense. Not very often do you have two All-Americans on one side of the ball.
I mean, it's got to be a luxury, especially for a younger quarterback as Jace Wilson. What do you do in a moment where it seems a little bit too big? Lean on your All-Americans.
There's third down and now a flag, and it looks like it's going to back up a little bit further. So back it up. Going to bring up 3rd and 11 now. And that was Anderson Tomlin with that little flinch.
You know, we talked about it to the keys in the second half. I'd love to see Charleston Southern continue to bring a lot of pressure. Furman could see it coming there, even though in a 3rd and long spot.
Wilson in the pocket, plenty of time, and Wilson sailed that throw. Throw it right over the middle. It was intended for Ryan Miller, but it'll bring up 4th down at about the 39-yard line. This is kind of a weird in-between area, and it looks like they're going to send the punt team out.
You know, something to note on defense for Charleston Southern now, because of Tyler Huff's ability to run the football, they had Garrett Saig almost acting as that rover, a quarterback spy. Well, in this second half with Jace Wilson, they're able to go to a nickel defense and have a lot more because they've been so successful up front. Now with a little bit of extra help on the back end, really paid dividends on that play.
Nice punt from Ryan Levy. Pins Charleston Southern inside the 10, and that's where the Buccaneers go back on offense when we come back.
Power isn't born, it's built over time. For over 65 years, Hercules Tires has been providing the muscle to move more drivers. Whatever the vehicle, whatever the terrain, and we back it with a powerful protection plan. So wherever the road or the trail takes you, we have the selection, value, and strength to get you there. Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
Last year, I had more blood and platelet transfusions than I can count. During my treatment for acute T-cell lymphoblastic lymphoma, the chemotherapy took a toll over my body. And one of the main things that helped me survive was my routine blood transfusions. Blood donors keep cancer patients like me fighting every day. Sign up now at thebloodconnection.org/donate.
There's not a secret to what actually happens behind the scenes at a bank. Here at First Citizens, we try to educate the client in each step of what's actually going to happen and actually have them make the educated decision around what steps and what options they utilize. We want to become that trusted advisor that actually guides them down that road, helping you reach your goals. That's Forever First.
Babe, it's 8 a.m.
Fried chicken, better with Pepsi.
This Big South broadcast is brought to you in part by Roper St. Francis, the official medical partner of Charleston Southern. Visit rsfh.com for more information. Right out of the break, it is going to be Isaiah Best who's going to start this second half. And Jack, we mentioned a little bit of what we can expect to see from Jace Wilson. Didn't really get a chance to talk as much about Isaiah Best, the redshirt freshman from Shelby, North Carolina. Well, what can we expect from him leading this offense?
I mean, this is a 6'4", 225-pound body with a huge arm. I look to see the Bucks go downfield with his ability.
And that one looking for Vincent Davis. Big hit to separate Davis from the ball. That was Dominic Morris, the sophomore from Spring, Texas, stepping up to knock that ball away.
You know, I think we're going to see a lot of this. Best able to get outside the pocket. He delivers a strike. Obviously not able to hold on, but with Malmgren, it's almost everything is inside the pocket. A nice pocket threat, but with Best's ability to get outside, extend the offense, it adds a different dynamic downfield.
A little bit more like Jack Chambers from a year ago for Charleston Southern. As Best standing in his own end zone, steps up around some contact, spins away, still on his feet, and finally gets wrapped up. That defensive line causing a lot of havoc. Looked like Braden Gilby was the one who stepped up to finally bring Best to the ground, and it's going to bring up 4th down.
You know, we talked about Charleston Southern needing to bring pressure to kind of keep this Furman offense off balance, but same thing goes the other way. 3rd and long doesn't matter to the Paladins. They're going to make this freshman make a play. You know, you mentioned Jack Chambers, right? An unbelievable arm talent. They see a lot of that in Isaiah Best. I'm curious, though. I'm sure Archer Denson will get a lot of these questions this week. Is Best getting the shot an indictment on his ability and practice and what he showcased? Or is it Tony Bartolo still a little banged up and they just wanted to give this offense maybe a breath of fresh air?
Going all the way back, Callie Chiswick fields at his own 40 and tries to sneak his way through a couple of blue jerseys. Takes it out to about the 46-yard line. And that is where Furman will go back. They have the lead, 10-9, 10-12 to go in the 3rd quarter when we come back on ESPN+.
The B1 Performance Patch elevates physical functions by transforming carbs.
This is supersonic Wi-Fi from Xfinity. It's fast.
So gaming with your niece has never felt more intense. Hey, what does this button do?
Unbeatable internet, only from Xfinity.
It's already 93 billion light years across, and it's still expanding. Sure makes you feel small, doesn't it?
I still feel pretty big.
I still feel pretty big.
BigSouthSports.com. Stay current with the latest news, results, stats, standings, and much more. Also, follow the showcasing of these amazing student athletes in this conference. Is a great catch up the sideline. Luke Shiflett, makes the big catch. Big throw from Jace Wilson, but we got a flag down to the backfield.
And again, what an unbelievable play by Shiflett. Again, pretty good coverage, but if we're going to watch in this replay, I believe, again, it's going to be Anton Williams, the senior up front, at quarterback pressure, and with no choice, I believe it's going to be a hold on Anton Williams. Again, he's been in that backfield all day, much needed up front for the Bucks.
That offensive line, the battle in the trenches has been interesting to watch with these two teams. You got a really good defensive line, a very good offensive line for Furman. Backs them all the way up, wipes out the big play, 1st and 20. As Wilson drops back, he's going to be flushed out of the pocket to the right, goes underneath, bobbles the ball, and it's dropped. Just looking for his man over there, Kendall Thomas.
He heard those footsteps come at Garrett Sagan. Perfect coverage there, and I'd be scared of the middle linebacker too. There's a reason he led the country in tackles last year. He has this thing sniffed out, and again, with Wilson's ability to run, he showcased it on that last drive. They've kind of gone back to bringing Sagan to that almost rover quarterback spy position. A nice play to kind of snuff that out.
2 to the top, 2 to the bottom. Now it's going to be a handoff up the middle. Nice little burst of speed from Thomas. The redshirt sophomore from Round Rock, Texas. Stony Point High School.
And here's another question, Killian. It seems we've seen 2 huge plays today. Shiflett down the sidelines, called back on a penalty. J.D. Moore in the first half, that big run from Charleston Southern, called back. It's like every time each team starts to build a little momentum, something kind of holding it back. Who's going to allow a clean, big play to really bust this thing open? I think that's the difference maker in the second half.
Wilson, the play action, trying to set up the screen pass. They have Miller, and he slips on the turf. Frustrated with himself, and Miller has a few words for Garrett Saig on the sideline, and Saig just stood there looking away the whole time.
It's a savvy vet play. You don't see Miller miss that one often, right? Saig almost had it snuffed out, let him know he was going to be there, but it'll be interesting to see if he'd have picked up that first down, if he could have kept his footing, but maybe had some words and walked away.
Brings up another punt as Levy gets this one away. End over end kick. Takes a nice bounce and chasing it all the way down. It'll be touched at the 3. So the punt game has been big for both sides, pinning the offenses deep. It's an excellent job hustling down by Caleb Williams, the freshman, to down it. 10-9, Furman still with the lead. Isaiah Best going back to work.
There's over 450 million hoopers out there.
If you're ready to bring it on game day, if you're leaning into tradition, tailgating in top form, and cheering at the top of your lungs, Regions is right there with you. Regions, official bank of the SEC.
We should be more sustainable. Amazon Business can steer us toward more sustainable products.
How did you know?
Doug's hat.
Huh. This is easy.
Sustainability. I feel good. What's next?
It's a car that runs on positive vibes.
I love people. Sustainability. Good vibes.
Amazon Business, partnering with enterprise leaders for smart business buying.
It's already 93 billion light years across, and it's still expanding. Sure makes you feel small, doesn't it?
I still feel pretty big.
I still feel pretty big.
Marathon has the fuel to keep your engine running at peak performance. Because you never know where life is going to take you.
Are you ready for football? Are you dreaming for football?
I love you, Josh Allen.
Are you crafting, prepping, and screaming for football? Good. Then you're ready.
It's nothing.
Sounds like something.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, unsystemic diarrhea.
Pepto-Bismol coats and soothes for fast relief when you need it most.
And for over 65 years, been providing tires in unbeatable quality at an unmatched value. Whatever the vehicle and whatever the terrain, Hercules Tires invites you to ride on our strength. Isaiah Best standing in his own end zone, going over the middle. Vincent Davis wide open. He's got it in stride. It's a foot race. Davis into the end zone. 97 yards, and Charleston Southern has the lead.
How about Vincent Davis right up the seam of the field, and he absolutely delivers a dime. There's that big-time arm strength that we talked about, but could it have happened again, Killian?
There is a hanky down on the field.
Result of the play is official. Sideline warning against Charleston Southern. This is their first warning.
So it's just a sideline warning for CSU, but Isaiah Bess unleashing the big arm and giving Charleston Southern the lead.
I love the confidence that the offensive coordinator instilled in Bess. Here's the deal. In your own end zone, we're not going to try to sneak it out of there. He delivers a strike. And can you blame the CSU sideline? There hasn't been much to cheer about on the offensive side of the ball. But how about the young guy stepping up when needed and delivers an absolute strike? That is how you take advantage of an opportunity in a big-time moment of this game.
The extra point from Babish is up and good. Charleston Southern back in front, 16-10 with 8:16 to go. Here's one more look for you.
Again, look, he watches through his progressions. He's got Jordan on the other sidelines, but Vincent Davis, with no help over the top, absolutely flies by. I believe it was number 15, Jack Rhodes, in that secondary. But God, what a pretty ball from Bess. That's going to be one that he talks about early, as I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that's his first home touchdown pass. A really nice ball to kind of ignite a little momentum in that Buccaneer sideline.
Second touchdown of the young career for Isaiah Bess. He had one last week against Eastern Kentucky. Comes in here and makes a big play.
So the first, in front of Buccaneer faithful, that one's got to feel good. But how about the fact that we did? I don't know if it's an announcer or broadcaster, Jinx Killian, but we did say we've seen two big plays called back on penalties. You called it. You saw that little yellow hanky, and I thought we were in for a third, but it looks like that big play we talked about, who's going to be able to make it happen, and early on in this third quarter, that was much needed, I think, really for the confidence for this Buccaneer offense.
End over end kick, fielding at about the 5-yard line and taking it out. Trying to spin him down, but finally a rip down at about the 25-yard line. Decent return for Furman as Jace Wilson now going to be trailing for the second time today. When he entered the game, he came in for the injured starting quarterback, the grad transfer Tyler Huff. He is out for the rest of the game. We have not seen him since he went down. But Wilson, he's come in, led the team down the field for a touchdown, trying to do something here on this possession in the second half.
And I think it's going to be important to note that I don't think they're going to try to get it all back at once. There's not a better calming voice maybe in the entire college FCS level than Coach Hendricks to really right the ship of what's kind of going on today. It's been an ugly game, a lot of miscues. They're not going to get out of pocket. They're not going to try to turn into something that they're not. They're going to continue to hammer it on the ground, and that's a big-time play, moving forward to get Dominic Roberto going.
Now Roberto, that's his 12th carry, touch over 40 yards today. And able to keep him in check as they're going to go right back to him. A good run up the middle, right down near the marker.
And again, it'll be methodical. They're not going to try to burn you with the big-time throw that Charleston Southern was able to do, but you can see that huge hole created by right tackle number 75, Pearson Toomey, and Roberto just follows suit. Doesn't try to bounce it to the outside. He just hits the hole hard, moves the chains.
Wilson, one-step drop, tipped through the hands, nearly reeled in by Harris. That ball left the hands of Wilson, went off the fingertips of a defensive lineman, through the hands of the receiver. Looked like that was big Quinton Sagan who got his hands up in the air.
I was just saying, it tipped at the line of scrimmage, because if he hits the all-freshman SoCon receiver in the chest, there wasn't a lot of help over the top. You had, number 6, Cam Smith in help, but he had a lot of room to run.
Handoff and up the middle for a couple of yards, so to bring up third down and about 6 or 7 for Furman.
It's been a bugaboo for this defense all year, trying to get off the field on third down. What's the Paladins try to do on third down? They're going to go to Ryan Miller. I don't think there's really hiding or disguising it. They're going to have Nick Perry in the slot guarding them. Will they bend, not break? knowing what the blueprint is for this Paladin offense on third down.
Just 3 for 12 today on third downs for Furman. Very uncharacteristic. Came into the game 47%. Charleston Southern giving up over 50. The throw on the out route, nice catch, and tiptoes the sidelines. Kendall Dean reels that one in.
The grad transfer from James Madison had 70 catches, over 922 yards and 6 tutties, yet did miss all last year due to an injury. So this is a piece in this offense that's not talked about enough. James Madison, a FCS powerhouse, has done it at the biggest level.
Had a big game today against Appalachian State. Another run up the middle, and Roberto gets pushed off to the side. And Dean, you mentioned that freshman All-American season at James Madison. He's actually playing with his position coach and assistant at James Madison, the former quarterback Drew Dudzik, who's on staff here for Furman.
Maybe they got a type. They look good in purple. They wanted to keep wearing it at the next spot.
Wilson drops back. Plenty of time. Decides to roll out to his right. Throw in, looking for Dean. And it's going to be knocked away. He was actually looking for Anderson Jr. up the sideline.
You know, for a backup quarterback, I think the best compliment you can receive, you know, we actually talked about Carlos Davis about this just 4 weeks ago. Doesn't it look like the game's kind of in slow motion? Obviously, he had a huge pocket to stand in right there, but right now for Jace Wilson, it looks like the game is very much so in control. The moment's not too big, and I think it's really the best compliment you can give a backup quarterback.
And it certainly helps. We mentioned he's a guy, he started 6 games last season, went 4-2 as the starter, as Wilson tries to hit a guy in the flat. He was looking for Devin Abrams. Nick Perry came swooping in to make things a little tough on Abrams, and it brings up 4th down.
And again, the Bucs able to get off on 3rd down, but looking out to the flats almost immediately, I'd like to see Jace Wilson take a shot after, you know, he was able to find Luke Shiflett on the big bomb downfield. Take a couple more shots, you know. There's a lot of ball game left to play, but again, they're sticking to what they know.
Longest throw of the game was a 25-yard completion as Davis calls for a fair catch and fields it at about the 11.5, 12-yard line. That's where CSU will go back to work on offense. The last possession, the long touchdown pass, a 97-yard strike from Isaiah Bess to Vincent Davis, a new program record for longest play. Snap Steve McCoy to Jake Sills to Steve McCoy. It was a 95-yard touchdown pass, new record. Isaiah Bess and Vincent Davis.
Breaking CSU legends of old. Isaiah Bess making it clear early and often.
Bess was looking for Jordan up the near side. Good coverage. That time from Furman, it was Dominic Morris.
You know, we saw Jace come out and do the same thing on his first drive, leaning on his, you know, all-reliable, sure-handed, all-American tight end Ryan Miller. I figured Bess would come out and do the same with Caden Jordan. That was kind of why it was our big point at halftime, but Vincent Davis for 99 plays as well.
J.D. Moore, big hole up the left side. Now to the sideline, and finally he actually tiptoes and stays in bounds. He's at the 30, chasing him down. Will somebody get to him? They finally do. Cam Brinson came sprinting all the way back to bring him down at about the 7-yard line. What a run.
And you're going to see the explosives of J.D. Moore, an absolutely electric run. But watch the angle that Micah Robinson, the corner, takes here. That's why he beats him to the corner. He takes a bad angle, and Moore makes him miss big time. But to note, Cam Brinson on the backside tackle, not giving up on the play. The Bucs haven't been great in the red zone all year. That could be a huge tackle to try to keep him out of the end zone.
Saves the touchdown. Going to go right to TJ Ruff, who's into the game. J.D. Moore getting a breather as it's going to be 2nd down. Ruff picks up about a yard. Moore goes right back in.
You know, our incredible sideline reporter Justin mentioned it earlier in the game, but Roderick Hawkins is on the sideline. You'd like to see this guy maybe in this part of the end zone. It's a big back, but they're going to go back to Moore because Hawkins does have his helmet off, dealing with maybe still that injury.
Bess over the middle and just broken up. Morris again, good coverage. by the corner on the far side.
You know, really nice play there by the sophomore Ivan Yates. You know, we wanted to talk about it earlier in the drive. They keep going up tempo, not giving us a chance to talk about really how deep this Furman defense is. You know, we talked to Coach Edricks about it. They've got 23 guys on their roster with 5+ tackles. It shows really just how deep, and you're not going to hear the same name more than twice because these guys really can go all day.
Best pulls it, trying to get to the corner. Flag comes out as it's actually Vincent Davis, a bit of a wildcat who pulled it.
It's going to be an early penalty. Curious to see if it was maybe a legal formation. Everyone didn't get set. And that's what it's going to be. It's going to back him about 5 yards. But Vincent Davis, you know, they love the ball in his hands, and he's quick to the outside. It just looked like they never got quite set on J.D. Moore coming through on the jet sweep.
Illegal formation, offense. 5 players in the backfield. 5-yard penalty, it's 3rd down.
So that's what they get, the illegal formation. Montre Denson, you see, trying to ask for an explanation.
I think he's letting them know, hey, man, I think we're letting them know, hey, man, we've run this a time or two. We're being informed by our incredible producer, Nick Case, that they may have ran that to make sure that they could run that certain kind of play, and that could be one that, you know, they think about after the game that could potentially take 6 points off the board.
3rd and goal from the 11. There's going to be a handoff to Moore, and he's just going to shimmy, sidestep, and get taken down. Doesn't get very far. Couple of guys.
Penalties decline. 4th down.
You know, it'll be interesting moving forward if they really did run that play to make sure that they could have that formation set and they were given bad intel. I'm sure Autry will be pretty furious moving forward because that did seem to pull 6 points off the board. You saw Best pretty frustrated after that play. Kind of felt like CSU was playing for 3 on that 3rd down call, and I don't blame them. 6-point lead, there's been a lot of Furman miscues. I think you got to go for 6, really punch. You know, Dan, you don't want to take the foot off the throat quite yet because there is a lot of ball game left to play.
Babish setting up for a little chip shot. He gets it up, and it is good. Field goal knocked through.
It is, you got to feel good, right? To extend the lead to a 2-possession game at this point, you got to feel great. Coming into this ball game, Furman heavily favored the Bucks to hopefully go to the 4th quarter with the 2-possession lead. It's got to feel great, but with an opportunity to really put the foot on the throat, it's got to be, disappointing after that big run. But, we did mention it. That big-time chase down tackle by number 3, Cam Brinson, results in 3 instead of 7. A play to remind yourself on, as I'm sure this thing is going to come down to the wire.
And the defense has been making it well known today, doing everything that they can to keep it in. And talked about how Charleston Southern defense has been a staple for them. They've struggled this season. 3 very good opponents, 3 very good offenses they've had to play, but haven't lived up to the expectations. And they've come out today holding Furman to just 10 points. This is a Furman offense. They averaged 30 coming into the game.
And they've seen some powerhouse offenses this year. We talked about Kerwin Bell and that Western Carolina offense. They can score points at a plethora. NC State's a top 20 team in the country last week. East Kentucky kind of making their way to the FBS ranks. But Furman's a very disciplined team. Charleston Southern's been very strong today.
Jeremy Martin pops it up, and they're just going to let it bounce out of bounds. So it's going to move it up. Furman will get the ball in pretty good field position with 3:13 to go in this 3rd quarter.
Free kick out of bounds. Kicking team. Ball's placed at the 35-yard line.
Really interesting strategy there. I've seen them kind of boot the ball through the end zone all afternoon. By the way, who am I to judge? I don't know what I'm talking about. Special teams has been incredible today, so I'm in no position to judge, but felt like that spot there, it's almost like a squib. You want to kick it to the right guy and prevent a return, but giving Furman pretty good field position to start this drive feels like a mistake.
So Wilson, 5 of 11 today for 55 yards. Needs some points, and he just missed. He had a man wide open in Wayne Anderson Jr. and couldn't get it to him.
Anderson guard by Cam Smith in coverage there. What a really nice route, you know, Coach. Coach Hendrick had mentioned how dynamic of an athlete Wayne Anderson is. Coming in as a running back, playing a slot, almost see him on the outside as well. A really nice route to create some separation. Throw Wilson he had back.
He's a guy who played his first career collegiate game was against Charleston Southern back in 2019. He had a 66-yard touchdown run, showed off the speed, and hasn't really gotten much of a chance to do that here today with just 2 catches. So it's going to be 3rd down and 8. Charleston Southern trying to get off the field once again. 4 of 14 on 3rd downs, the Paladins today.
Look to bring pressure on 3rd down. Don't let them comfortable.
Wilson tries to move around, shakes 1 tackle. He's going to run for it himself, lowers the shoulder and falls forward for the 1st down. Nice play by the sophomore from Texas.
It looked like it was going to be a coverage shack there. The secondary played strong, and Anton Williams just gave him enough time. This has got to be his best game of the year, but just comes up a little shy, and you see the athleticism of Jace Wilson following suit of Tyler Huff to pick up the 1st down, extend the drive.
A handoff. Abrams wrapped up in the backfield. Jefferson shot through the hole and makes the play.
You know, we talked about this defense, right? Sherry Jefferson's been a guy that we've talked about all day. Watch him shoot out of the cannon, shoot into the backfield for a huge tackle for loss. I think it's a more disciplined defense where maybe the first 3 weeks everyone was going for the big play. Everyone's staying home, filling their gaps, playing their role, and it allows the linebackers to come up and make big plays in the backfield.
Pressure Owusu trying to chase down Wilson, and he sneaks his way out of the pocket and picks up some positive yardage. Garrett Saig on the tackle.
There's that spy again, Garrett Saig with a nice play, because it did look like with the streaks going downfield that Wilson had a lot of room to run. A nice tackle to prevent it from being an even bigger play, as you can see here. He had a little help over the top at corner, but if he's able to break a tackle up the middle of the field, he had some room to run.
3rd and short for Furman. Be a play action. Wilson finds Miller wide open. Foot race to the end zone. 7 straight games. Ryan Miller's caught a touchdown pass, and Furman back within 1 score.
And instead, this time you're going to see, I believe they use Joshua Harris as the decoy. We've seen Ryan Miller run that underneath route. Excuse me, it was Wayne Anderson that runs the underneath route. They use him as the decoy, as Miller's able to just kind of sneak through into that Charleston Southern secondary. And let me tell you, can you see a tight end running that fast at this level? It's a rarity. Miller with his 7th touchdown in a row, and we get the hype. That young man can play.
LaPro puts the PAT up and through, makes it 19-17. The All-American man, Ryan Miller, with the touchdown. He's got 1 in 7 straight games, now 20 for his career as he continues to chase down that record in program history for the Paladins. And it makes it back to a 2-point game, 58 seconds left. Check the first half, it was a little slow. Neither team could really find any sort of a rhythm. This second half, though, both teams really kind of settling in, and they're starting to show it on offense.
And you know, we talked about coming out of halftime. It was going to be the battle of the backups, and they didn't really need much time to settle in. You're seeing them kind of really deliver when they needed to be most. But what a brilliant play call there. To have that decoy. You've seen Miller run that underneath route, I think close to 5 to 6 times today. You got to have him sneak back there. That's a much-needed touchdown for the Paladins to feel really good going into the 4th quarter.
Ian Williams puts his right foot through it. TJ Ruff going to call for the fair catch and field it in the end zone. So it'll come out to the 25 for Charleston Southern.
Killian, can we give a shout out? I just thought about it too on the kickoff and on the field goal. Shout out to our crew. Unbelievable, the best in the business. But how about them chilling up top in, what is it?
The scissor
Sunbelt? The Sunbelt scissor or whatever? Scissors. That field goal almost smoked him, by the way. Like, truly, on the PAT.
That's our guy, Mike Luongo, right there in the middle. He was waving. Got a couple people.
Guys, we got to get him a net up there or some kind of glove. I don't know. It's scary play.
More power to them. I'm afraid of heights, so more power to them up there. I thank them very deeply. Vincent Davis, little pitch from Bess, and he's going to be picked up, and lots of whistles, pushing, shoving. That's what you got to do, play to the whistle.
Well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They ran it on the first play of the game today. They ran it on the first play of the game against Western Carolina. Vincent Davis and that jet sweep action has been really effective.
Davis up over 100 yards for the game. As J.D. Moore weaving his way around. Big hit is chasing him down. That's Sobchaka, excuse me, makes the play. He's one of the grad students. He's actually been at Furman the entire time. Second down, another handoff to Moore. Weaves his way around. Sobchaka right there again. J.D. Moore over 110 yards on the ground now, and that was something that Charleston Southern struggled with this season. They were 121st out of 123 teams in the FCS in rushing yards per game. They've come out and they've ran the ball.
You know, it was our key to the game at the beginning of the ball game. They didn't have one rushing touchdown going into today. Well, if they made it an emphasis going into this weekend, boy, have they proved to.
15 minutes of football left. Charleston Southern looking for their first win. They lead 19-17.
The right way to top a sub is with real red wine vinegar made from red grapes and no food coloring. And the right way to film it is in slow motion. Obviously. Because authentic ingredients
I've got that blue sky, I've got that sunshine.
Kids can't be kids when their clothes don't fit right, and the same goes for their nighttime underwear. That's what they should. Good nights, more sizes for a comfy custom fit.
If you're always asking, where next? Capital One has the travel card for you. Venture X. Earn 10x miles on hotels and 5x miles on flights booked through Capital One Travel. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges. Find your where next with Venture X. What's in your wallet?
What if you were a global bank who wanted to crunch billions of transactions against thousands of compliance controls? So you tap IBM to unsilo your data, and now you can supercharge your audit system with AI. Let's create smarter ways of putting your data to work. IBM, let's create.
Marathon has the fuel to keep your engine running at peak performance. Because you never know where life is going to take you.
McClatchy checked to Longshaw as a handoff. Up the middle, J.D. Moore. First down, Charleston Southern right up to midfield. And CSU, the third quarter was a very good quarter to the home team.
Absolutely. You'd love to see Best kind of getting under control. Everything is nice and calm. They want to allow the freshmen to kind of really control this game.
Best going to sling it out for Vincent Davis, who picks up a couple, and the ball comes out. Still on the turf, and Furman picks it up. Cam Brinson. Right place, right time. And a huge turnover to start the fourth quarter.
Absolutely, and it's just a little dump-off play to Davis. You want him to get the ball in action, but wow, what a play by number 36, Jalen Miller, to rip that thing loose. He was head hunting for that football. It's a really nice play. Again, it feels like every time the momentum swifts, it's been turnover bound, and that's a big one to start the fourth quarter.
Miller had an interception last week against ETSU. Now with the strip, and gets Furman the ball in the CSU territory in a short field. They're going to hand off right up the middle. Sprinting ahead was Thomas to pick up a couple of yards.
You know, we had mentioned it, right? It felt like Charleston Southern kind of had their grasp on this game, but you knew Furman with this, program pedigree, they weren't going to back down, even with a backup quarterback. And it felt like they left the door open, and Furman seems to be taking advantage of it.
Another handoff to Thomas. He gets met in the backfield, but able to bounce it outside, keep the play alive, and it'll make it 3rd and short.
Also an emphasis not to talk down on, because J.D. Moore has been incredible today, over 100 yards on the ground, but it feels like in this fourth quarter, without the injury, that possession would have belonged to Roderick Hawkins. If you're trying to eat up some clock, then you want to go to the big back that's really going to take care of the football. Not to say that what Jalen Miller did was an incredible play to rip that ball loose, but it felt like that was Roderick Hawkins' possession.
Huge tackle in the backfield. And guess who? It was number 40, Garrett Saig, the man there, and he comes off a little lame after that big collision.
I mean, he absolutely shoots the A-gap. Do not meet the all-SoCon linebacker in that gap, because he's going to win every time. A little worried coming off the field. That right shoulder looked a little lame, but Furman's going to go for it on 4th.
4th down and 3. Miller going to pull it on the play action. And Wilson falls forward for the first down. He was looking for Ryan Miller, the tight end, the whole way. He was kind of tied up. As Owusu was the one who made the tackle. A big 4th down conversion now, 3 for 3 for the Paladins.
It's felt like all day that Furman's been able to move the ball, and as they've gotten close to getting into Buccaneer territory, the offense seems to stall out. That's a huge 4th down conversion.
2 running backs in the backfield next to Wilson. He's going to hand it off to Abrams, who fights his way forward. He's going to be stopped by a host of Buccaneers.
We were worried about it. Garrett Saig, he's got 7 tackles on the day. Nick Martallo coming in to play backup middle linebacker. He's going to be something to really key in on, but it looks like they're not going to be able to keep the senior linebacker after the field for long, because he's back out there.
Garrett Saig is a football guy. Player who thought about hanging it up. He finished up last season, didn't think he wanted to come back and play. Got the itch once camp started to go again. Out here leading the CSU defense in tackles today.
And it's so cool, too, when you understand the backstory, right? For Saig, it's more than football, as you see him blow up the running back there and allow the middle linebacker to kind of kickstart the play. But for Saig's family, his older brother Landon played here as a linebacker as well, so it's about family. He's been here for a long time, so this is the end of an era to a truly Hall of Fame Charleston Southern football family.
Another 3rd down, this one in inches for Wilson. He's going to hand it off. Abrams up the middle again. The big back stumbles forward for another first down, just moving the chains 3 plays at a time.
Absolutely. We talked about how Furman wasn't going to try to make the big play all at once. They weren't going to try to get it all up back at once. They were going to trust what they do offensively, which is control the rock.
Right on the edge of the red zone at the 22-yard line of Charleston Southern. Wilson in the pistol. Play action. Still rolling. And is trying to keep it himself. He's going to run. He's got one man. Leaps into the end zone. Touchdown, Furman. The Paladins are back on top.
And he just held on to it the entire play, looking downfield. But what you're not going to see is Ryan Miller, same exact play, he's going to leak out, but a huge block on the outside to make sure that he's able to sneak through. And again, I believe that was put on number 2. Excuse me, Ombre Kennedy, but Ryan Miller doing it in the receiving game, now the blocking game. Jace Wilson, this game has not been too much for the backup so far.
LaPro, the PAT, it is up and good, 24-19. Furman come rolling back in the backup. Jace Wilson doing it with his legs. Paladins back on top in Charleston.
Last year.
If RPMs raise your BPMs, if the open road is an open invitation, then get up and go. Go turn some heads. Go turn a wrench. Go windows down. Go volume up. Go in. Go out. Go off. Napa has America's largest network of parts and care, here to keep you firing on all cylinders.
We made USAA Renters Insurance for the stuff you love. Because if it's worth lugging up 5 floors, it's worth protecting for as low as 33 cents a day. It's that simple. USAA. What you're made of, we're made for.
Guys, I got a game today. I need a ride.
But it's only Saturday.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. College kid.
Who took my helmet?
Ready.
Where are my socks?
I need more club.
Have you seen my pads?
Fashion.
I'm coming, Baker.
So where are we headed this week?
Texas.
Texas. Road trip.
Hi, I'm Malak, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Grilled Spicy Deluxe is it has that kick. Not too spicy, but it's just enough for your taste buds to feel that level of heat. And you're like, ooh, this is good. It's the perfect amount of spicy.
Hi, I'm Capri, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Grilled Spicy Deluxe is the chicken. You can tell they actually put it on the grill, cooked it in the sauce, marinated it. You're definitely getting a good grilled spicy sandwich.
Here for some new apparel or find that perfect gift. Get fully equipped for all your game day fun with BigSouthStore.com. Ian Williams boots it through the back of the end zone. Furman back on top, 24-19. Paladins seemed like they kind of had control a little bit in that first half. They had a nice touchdown possession right in the last few minutes to take the lead into the half, and finally back on top in the fourth.
Jace Wilson can boogie, man. We talked about Tyler Huff, the fact that he's leading his Paladin team in rushing. Looks like Jace Wilson is going to give him a run for his money now that it appears the job might be his for a while. Really stepping up big in this second half.
So Isaiah Best, he's 2 for 8 today. Throws that one over the middle. There's Caden Jordan fighting towards midfield. His third completion of the game for Best, and it moves the chains. A strike from Isaiah.
You know, we talked about coming out of halftime. To be quite frank, this Buccaneer team hasn't really played in a close game. So what do you do when your back's against the wall and you have an opportunity to win the football game? You give the ball to your stud player, Caden Jordan, on the outside with a big-time pickup.
And off, J.D. Moore picks up some more yards. A very good game from J.D. Moore, over 100 yards on the ground.
It's been interesting since that TJ Ruff fumble in that first possession. They've really gone to more. Hawkins obviously going down to the injury, but guys in positions to really step up that maybe not featured all the time have really taken advantage of their opportunity.
Moore falls forward for a couple of yards. It'll make it about 3rd and 5. So this a big 3rd down for the redshirt freshman Bess. They're going to bring Ruff in, the better receiving back in that running backs room for Charleston Southern.
You know, I know there's a lot of time in this football game, but with the momentum that's been occurring on that far sideline, I got to imagine this is 4-down territory. They need to score now, and they need to pick up some, big yards in order to make it a 4th and short.
Bess faces the pressure, runs out to the right, diving for the marker. It's going to be determinant of this spot, and they say that he got it.
Well, he's 6'4" on our books up here, and he used every inch to put up this first down. Look at the grit and determination in order to pick up a massive 3rd down. You love to see out of a young man.
Doing his best, Michael Jordan Space Jam, trying to stretch that arm a little bit longer just to get the first down.
I don't know, man. I was thinking.
Bess, lots of pressure in his face. He just throws it up, and the entire Furman sideline looking for a grounding call, and they're going to get it.
There it is. Unfortunate. I don't think he knew that he didn't get outside the pocket, but that one's going to hurt, leading to a 2nd and long. But I'm thinking Cam Newton, 6'4", 230, a little Superman Cam, pulled it off. Nice play, but Space Jam way cooler.
Saw Furman brought a lot of pressure on that last play, got right up in the face of the young freshman.
We talked about it on the other side as well. Charleston Southern's continue to bring the pressure. They just haven't been able to contain it inside of the pocket. They bring pressure from one side, and Wilson's able to evade. Bess, obviously not as quick of a runner as Wilson, but got to see him get rid of the ball quick to avoid that Paladin defense blitz.
2nd and 22 after the intentional grounding. Bess going to drop back. He's going to sling it out to his man J.D. Moore, who stops, makes a man miss. J.D. Moore. Somebody called Dancing with the Stars. Goodness.
I think he broke his ankles in the meantime as well. Looked like both the defender and himself were surprised he made such a clean move, but
player down. That's Jeremiah Jackson, a little slow to get up for Furman. Let them tend to him. We're going to take a quick back. 8:16 to go when we come back.
The B1 Performance Patch elevates physical functions by transforming carbs into glucose used to fuel the body. Don't compete without it. Visit buyb1.com or on social media at B1Patch.
Citywide to countryside. Whatever you drive, wherever you go. Hercules Tires has the value, selection, and industry-leading protection to get you there, no matter where the road takes you. Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
Get social with the Big South. You can join the always growing network of Big South fans on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and more. Also, keep up with the latest news or interact with the league and its fans. Follow, watch, like, and share with the Big South Conference. Third and very long for Charleston Southern. Isaiah Best drops back, now stepping up over the middle. Caden Jordan wide open and through the hands. Jordan had it, and then he dropped it.
And here's going to be the issue on the play. Caden Jordan doesn't drop that pass. A really nice play from Best to step up in the pocket, on the run, off the back foot, delivers a strike. Caden Jordan almost overruns the route, kind of instead of sitting down in the soft spot of that coverage. That's going to be a play that Buccaneer faithful think about for the rest of the day, because that's a sure-handed Caden Jordan that just kind of seemed to let one get away.
There's David Gelb out for his 7th punt of the day. He's been very good. Going to try and see if he can pin Furman back inside the 5 for a 3rd time. High end-over-end kick. Chiswick fields it inside the 10 at the 9-yard line. Furman with the lead. 7:52 to play when we come back.
On a patronizing Fansville by Dr. Pepper.
That's called an off tackle. That's where the running back runs.
I know what it is. Did you just fansplain me?
I'm sorry. I was out of bounds. That's where a player steps back.
Dr. Pepper, the one fans deserve.
Yo, my name is Luis, and the little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Grilled Spicy Deluxe is the different flavors that are hitting your mouth at every millisecond. You get the explosion and the zestiness of the chicken, then that spice just kicks in, and if you had that cilantro lime, perfection.
Hi, this is Becky, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Grilled Spicy Deluxe is that marinade. They make sure that it is on the entire piece of chicken and not just on top. The pepper, whatever else is secret in their marinade, it's amazing.
Here's the problem, team. Nobody knows what Hulu Plus Live TV is.
Yeah, it comes with over 75 live channels with sports like NFL games, plus Hulu's entire streaming library.
Plus Disney Plus, plus ESPN Plus.
What if we change the name?
Give me something. No bad ideas. Let's go.
Super Hulu.
Bad idea.
Hulu Bold.
No.
Hulu Plus Live TV Plus.
Yeah, everybody's kind of doing the plus thing after the name.
What if we call it Hulu Plus Live TV Plus Plus Plus?
You're saying 3 pluses? That's what you're saying? That's dumb, but we're gonna go with it.
A great story has magic, power, and every once in a while, it has miracles. As luck would have it, that's our story.
Back in Charleston, you see the Director of Equipment Operations for Charleston Southern, Gary Montier, or Gary with the Kicks on social media. Bit of a sneakerhead down there. It's Equipment Appreciation Week, or Equipment Manager Appreciation Week, as big run from Dominic Roberto on first down, picks up a big gain. Nate Mason, shout out to him as well. He's the equipment manager over on the Furman side. A big shout out to all those equipment teams on both sides, helping keeping the game going.
I love it, man. These games, there's a lot of people that put into a lot of their time to make it happen, and gotta show the love to everybody.
Jace Wilson, another handoff up the middle. Going right back to Roberto, and we've kind of seen a bit of a spell between him and Devin Abrams. They've gone back and forth. Roberto got a lot in the first half. It was a little bit of a quiet third quarter for him, but now going to try and grind some clock. They're giving it back to number 8.
And this Charleston Southern defense has been so good all day, but doesn't it kind of feel like Furman's now kind of getting into the groove of their offense? What that Paladin offense and culture stands for. They're going to control the rock. They're going to run this clock all the way down to 1 second, and they're going to really start to pave its way with just under 7 minutes left in the game.
Wilson, he's run for a couple of touchdowns himself, and have a stoppage. It's Parks Kissinger, grad transfer tight end from Michigan State.
Got to imagine, as you know, a Power 5 guy, Michigan State, go Sparty, you know, play at an FCS school to be the starting tight end, and little did you know, there's a two-time All-American playing in front of you.
Nowhere at the bottom of the screen. Wilson going to hand off again. Roberto stumbles forward. There's a name that we haven't had to call much today, Jeremiah McClendon, the first guy into the backfield. He's been very quiet, but he's one of the better athletes on this defense.
Coach Denson says he might be the most athletic guy on this entire team, but I think credit to get where credit's due. The young Bucks in the secondary have been wildly impressive today, starting with Cam Smith in that secondary.
Third down, big one for the defense. Wilson gonna pause and look over. Abrams gonna switch side.
Third down, when in doubt, where's Ryan Miller?
Just get the snap off. Wilson going underneath Kissinger, and he falls forward. First down, move the chains. A big conversion for the Paladins.
Look at me. To me, I'm not talking trash. I'm just showing a lot of love to Ryan Miller, but let's use Miller as the decoy on this third down and have Parks Kissinger sneak out into the flats, pick up a huge third down, and again, tick, 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 tick. Charleston Southern is going to need a huge third down stop in order to get off the field and allow their offense a chance to get back in this game.
Less than 5 minutes to play now. Go handoff Abrams. He gets upended after a gain of 2.
And you're starting to see Charleston Southern kind of shift by shift, right? Here comes the second unit of defensive linemen in to hopefully bring some fresh legs and fresh juice to get off the field, bring a lot of pressure, stack the box, try to make it a third and long to force them to throw it again.
All the damage that Wilson has done today has been on the ground. 6 for 48 yards and 2 touchdowns with his legs. He's 7 of 14 for 109 through the air. They're going to hand it off again. Roberto trying to go to the left side. Keeps the legs churning. And he's going to make it 3rd and short.
You know, we talked about how Dominic Roberto last year was averaging about 7.4 yards per carry. That set a Furman single-season record. He's got that inept ability to always seem like he's falling forward, right? And at the end of the game, especially in these crucial moments, a yard or two by just falling forward can make the difference.
Charleston Southern calls a timeout with 4:06 left. Big third down coming up on the other side of this break.
Power isn't born, it's built over time. For over 65 years, Hercules Tires has been providing the muscle to move more drivers.
Your run doesn't have to look perfect. It doesn't have to be epic. And this one does not have to be posted on social.
Need some help?
Yes!
If you need it, we have it. QT, more than a gas station.
Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids, the underdogs. It means constantly improving, striving, hungering. It's no excuses, no days off, or no glory. It's drive.
This doesn't make sense.
It does to me, Mom.
You're a smart kid. Why do you want to do this?
I love it. You know that.
Okay, but why this way?
Because I want to take on the world's toughest hackers. And this is where it's done. So, what do you think?
Sunday Night Baseball, Sundays at 7 on ESPN.
trying to keep the ball. Wilson, play action. He's going to look over the middle. Intercepted. Garrett Saig at midfield. He's got a convoy in front of him. A flag comes out.
The flag's going to be late. I think it's going to be a hold at the very end of the play. But let it not take away from the fact that Garrett Saig just made the player of the year so far for the Bucks.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Return team, number 32. 10-yard penalty, first down.
The grad student from Simpsonville, South Carolina, makes the biggest play of the game for Charleston Southern on a third down when they needed it most.
Oh, he's first team All Big South last year. He's an All-American this year for this Buccaneers defense. That's the play of the year. They've been beaten around. They've talked trash about this defensive unit. But when you've got this guy anchoring it, he's going to jump the route of Ryan Miller right in the middle of the field, and he makes an unbelievable snag to really give this Buccaneers defense a chance to go win the game.
So 3:57 to go. The redshirt freshman Isaiah Bess, he's going to get a chance down by 5. Bess, he's going deep, looking for Jordan, and Jordan just through the hands. He couldn't hold on.
I love the fade route, though. Bess looks really comfortable, an opportunity to really go get points early. It looks like this ball's right on the money, but pretty good blanket coverage on the outside by number 4. I believe it was number 4, Dominic Morris, but I think that's a catch that Caden Jordan thinks he should come down with.
We've seen a couple of those. Caden Jordan with a few balls that have kind of hit him in the hands that he usually makes, and that being one of them. Bess again from the shotgun. He's going to send out J.D. Moore and sling it out to him. Flag comes in the backfield as Moore reverses field. All sorts of space as all that running for a gain of about 5 or 6, if that. And we'll have to see what the flag is.
Personal foul. Hands to the face. Defense, number 93. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. First down. Number 72 can remain in the game.
See J.D. Moore limping coming off the sidelines. This is probably the most action he's gotten all year on the field. Looks like he's working through a cramp, so hopefully he can get back out there soon. But these penalties today have been a real bugaboo on both sidelines.
And at the 7th penalty for 55 yards on Furman. Puts the ball at the 24. Bess, play action, looking for Jordan, and he threw it way behind him. That was a miscommunication between Jordan and Bess.
You know, it's one of those read routes, right? So for Jordan, an experienced guy, Bess a little bit younger, unexperienced, Jordan's going to take the inside slant, right? That's because he read the safety over top and helped. They needed to get rid of the ball quick, where Bess was expecting Jordan to run that out route, all alone in coverage on the outside. A little bit of miscommunication there.
Gonna hand off to Ruff. Ruff sidesteps one man and gets tackled. The big play by Matt Sachovka, the big fella. He's gonna bring up third down now. Less than 3.5 minutes to play. Down by 5. You have to imagine this is 4-down territory.
Absolutely. So does that change your play calling scheme-wise from an offensive standpoint? Do you want to go pick up a couple, or do you go ahead and take the shot now?
Jordan's going to be in the slot to the top of the screen. Vincent Davis on the bottom half. Bess drops back. He's going to throw it looking for Jordan in the end zone, and he overthrew it. And it will bring up 4th down.
I believe that was Chizik in coverage all by himself with Jordan. It looked like just that press at the line of the scrimmage. You can see he hits him early, and that's what prevents him from getting to that pylon, because it looked like Bess kind of threw it right where he wanted to, just a step behind.
4th down and 7. 2:50 to play. Can the freshman Bess make a big moment early in his college career?
He's got Jordan at the top of the screen and Chizik in single coverage again.
Best going to drop back, looking for the end zone, leaping up and intercepted. Dominic Morris. But there is a flag down.
Killian, it's felt like all day, every big play, there's a foul. That's kind of got us on the edge of our seats.
There is no foul on the play. Ruling on the field is an interception. First down for the defense.
I think they're messing with us upstairs. Every big play today, it feels like there's a penalty that's got us holding our breath. That one leading to nothing, but what an unbelievable play by Dominic Morris. All by himself on an island, goes up, pinpoints the football, and makes an unbelievable play in the back of the end zone to flip the tide again. I mean, are we surprised? Another turnover to really shift the momentum late in the game.
9th turnover combined between the two teams today. And that one might be the most costly for Charleston Southern as Jace Wilson back out, 2:43 to go. Charleston Southern with just the 2 timeouts. Up the middle, Abrams, the big man, picks up about 7.
It feels like with 2 timeouts left for Charleston Southern that a first down might ice the game depending on when they want to take them. But Furman, again, we talked about at the half, who was going to make the big play, right? We go back to when Charleston Southern was held to 3 in the red zone. That huge stand, the chase down tackle from Cam Brinson could be the difference in this game.
That really is. With this score being 24-19, it's going to be less than 2 minutes to play after this snap. Hand off again, Abrams. Abrams stuck by Anton Williams, and Autry Denson gonna pop a timeout. 1:50 to go, and again, it's gonna come down to a big 3rd down.
You know, Garrett Saig was able to do it on the last possession. Anton Williams, the senior leader, is able to make a big play there. This is a must-have on 3rd down, but as we see on the replay, I mean, he just makes a really good play. Best underthrows it a little bit, but it felt like, again, he may have gotten locked in on one target, let it eat downfield. I believe that was Cale Anderson he was trying to hit. But Bess, other than that, you know, the big 97-yard throw, you see why they're so high on the young freshman. A lot of promise, strong arm. Just tried to maybe overdo it there, Killian.
So it's 3rd and 2. What do you think the offense for Furman draws up here? They need this conversion. You can probably put the game away if they do.
So scheme-wise, right, you want to run the clock out. Let's say you don't pick it up. You want Charleston Southern to have to use the last time out, but you got a 2-time All-American at tight end for a reason. I bet they find him here.
Roberto, the handoff, ripped down right near the marker. It's going to be determinant of the spot on where it is, and they're going to say it's a first down.
A little surprised by the spot on the far side of the field from that far official. Autry Denson, you can see upset with the spot of that call. I'm sure he'd love to be able to go back and challenge it, but Dominic Roberto, like we said, he just continues to fall forward at 2:30. How couldn't he? That's a big back, and he just iced the games most likely for the Paladins.
Wilson in the pistol. He's going to take it. They're actually going to hand it off, and Abrams gets tripped up. Autry Denson going to use his final timeout, and all Furman has to do now is take a knee. As we're going to show you now, the Hercules Tire strong move of the game, and it belongs to the sophomore Dominic Morris with that late INT on 4th down in the end zone to give Furman the ball back.
An emotional roller coaster. Stuck in a glass case of emotions. I mean, seriously, all day today it kept feeling like the momentum changed every which way. But Dominic Morris with a pick late to seal the deal for the Paladins as they're able to go 3-1 as they head into SoCon play. This is a team that last year was a little disappointed in their performance in conference play. But as we talked about, the pedigree, the culture, the standards that Coach Hendrick has installed, by no means was this the cleanest game that he's been a part of as a Paladin. But boy, they were still able to get the job done, thanks to a huge Hercules play by Dominic Morris.
Morris had an interception last week against ETSU and comes away with the big one here today against Charleston Southern. So Furman going to go to 3-1. They're going to continue on as they work into the SoCon schedule. Charleston Southern falls to 0-4. They hit the road, a very difficult game against Campbell coming up for them.
No such thing as a moral victory. No such thing. But this defense is back. And boy, do they play physical, and they play fast and downhill. And with that middle linebacker, Garrett saying, we don't want to forget that play he made on 3rd down to really give them a shot. It's an unbelievable football play, and it's something they can hang their hat on as they move forward into the Big South this year.
Jace Wilson comes into the game under a tough circumstance after the starter, Tyler Huff, goes down with an injury. And the sophomore from Missouri City, Texas, guides his team to the victory, 24-19. Furman is just on the outside of the top 25 looking in, improves to 3-1. Charleston Southern to 0-4. Final thoughts on this one from today, Jack?
The battle of the backup quarterbacks, they really both seem to settle in the second half. Jace Wilson, we had talked about 4-2 as a starter last year, a down year by the Paladin standard. But boy, did he look like he took a huge jump, learned a lot from Tyler Huff. We send our prayers and good feelings and vibes to Tyler Huff. Make sure it's not a serious injury, but that Paladin team able to squeak out a win on a sloppy Saturday here in North Charleston.
Well, that's all we've got for you today from the Low Country. An absolutely phenomenal day for football. For my partner, Jack DeLongshaw, our third man down in the field, Justin Beagle. My name is Killian McClatchy. Big thanks to our entire crew, as always, here in Charleston, our director, Nick Case. The final score from Buccaneer Field, Furman 24, Charleston Southern 19. Have a good rest of your Saturday afternoon.